movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 157. Not just welcome back to another episode, welcome to the final episode of 2021. 2021 was better than 2022, but let's get out of this hellscape, shall we? We're saying this is the final episode of this year because next 2 weeks we're going to take off, and then we're going to come back hopefully better than ever in 2022. But knowing us, it'll probably be just our still slightly below average content that you know and love. But when we come back, we'll have our annual predictions, which my favorite podcast every year is always our predictions. And we'll talk about last year's predictions, how I was wildly off on some stuff and spot on some other things. We'll talk about our most anticipated, so that's stuff to look forward to. But you know, we always need to recharge our batteries because this takes it out of us every once in a while. Dealing with Josh every week is a bit of a headache, and Josh dealing with me is a bit of a headache. Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm chilling, my dude. You know, it's really crazy. I didn't realize that next year is 2022 and last year was 2022 as well. That's crazy. Did you catch that when you did that in the opening? No? All right, cool. I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. Yeah, no, I'm chilling. I watched Matrix last night because I was like, why not?
Oh, the original Matrix.
Yeah, original Matrix. The cinema wins or whatever put up.
He's doing the trilogy.
Did like the 3 videos, did the trilogy. And I was like, you know, it really has been a long time since I've seen the original Matrix. It's a good time. I'm down. Yeah, sure. Okay. Whatever.
I know I should watch them. I've only ever seen the original trilogy once, and it's like one of my dad's favorite movies. I genuinely don't remember that much about The Matrix because it's been so long since I've seen them. All I remember was getting stuck in my head of there's this big iconic moment where Neo dodges the bullets. The dude still gets shot anyway. Like,
yeah. There's a lot of like really cool stuff that like in like my memory is way cooler. And you know what? Watching this movie as like a 12-year-old kid was probably like absolutely mind blowing. But as an adult, and there's so much in film that has been affected, you know, influenced by the Matrix since, it's weird. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. You watching anything else besides Matrix?
I watched in one go the full first season of Arcane. It's very, very, very good. I would recommend it for anybody, even if you haven't played League of Legends. It's definitely amplified if you've played the game for a long time, but like the show, it's very, very good. Watched 4 episodes of the now canceled Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that stings, but I can't say I'm surprised.
And that was the thing too, is like it definitely hurts a little bit because I was really, really actually enjoying this show. The guy that plays Spike,
John Cho.
He's so good.
He's good in everything.
So
I
good.
love him so much.
But like, I would watch him do this character forever. It's so cool and so entertaining. Are we going to talk about episode 4 of Hawkeye or?
Oh, you know, somebody showing up next episode. You know it.
Oh, absolutely! I've seen the teaser for next episode.
Oh no, I was talking about somebody much larger. Somebody that.
Oh, really?
If you're on a dartboard, you might be able to stick a pin in it.
I hate you. I'm kind of expecting him by the end of the show. They're getting close enough to the top that it makes sense. Yeah. It was just cool. Are we dropping spoilers? I guess
it's been a full week.
Yeah. It was really cool to see Yelena. I popped really hard when she uses the gauntlets. And I was like, because at that point, you're not really sure. Like, everyone has theories, but you're not really sure.
You forget that she's coming after him.
Yeah, exactly. And then she uses the gauntlets, and I was like, yo, let's go!
I started to piece it together when Kate Bishop is in the apartment, and he's like, there's somebody else out here. And I was just like, wait, it's kind of late in the game to introduce clones. Oh, it's probably like Yelena. Okay. Which, actually, I was kicking myself because the first time I watched the episode, the lights are flashing, and it took me way too long to realize what that was.
Yeah.
And then upon a rewatch, when I watched it with Heather a few days later, I'm going, oh, hey, that's a deaf person alarm. I've seen Hush like dozens of times. I should know that, because Hush, that was kind of important. That's how she wins.
Well, I think the thing, too, though, is you wouldn't think about it if you... Also, because we didn't know it was Maya's apartment, so it's kind of like you wouldn't piece that together. But yeah, no, just cool stuff. I've got all kinds of theories. And my mom's actually getting in on it too, which is crazy. That says something. But like about why Yelena didn't kill Clint right then and there, and why she didn't just go ahead and kill Haley Steinfeld. That's who it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
it's just interesting. It's really, really cool. I'm excited to see Florence Pugh. I literally when I popped really hard when we were watching it, because we watch every episode as a family, and everyone was like, "What? Who is that? Who is that?" And I was like, "It's I couldn't remember Yelena, and I was like, "That's Florence Pugh."
Pew pew.
Pew 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 pew. So, but yeah.
Which I'm still gonna be one of those hipsters to just go, I knew about Florence Pugh before it was cool. I saw Fighting with My Family, because that was the first thing I ever saw. And then like a few months later is when she really started to blow up. I'm just like, y'all slept on Fighting with My Family. We slept on Fighting with My Family because the god awful commercials. Paige here.
Paige here.
I'm getting commercial PTSD. God, I hate that commercial so much.
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised though if the reason she kept Clint alive is because remember in the end of Black Widow when I'm just gonna call her Elaine because I don't remember her actual name. When Elaine shows her the picture, it's just like, this is your target. It's Hawkeye wearing the Ronin outfit. So maybe Yelena's the one that tells the world, hey, I'm not gonna kill him, but this is the guy that is Ronin. Have fun. Like, that would be uncomfortable.
Yeah, because the moment too that Haley Steinfeld's character pieces together that Clint is the Ronin, and I was like, oh. There's been like this episode and last episode have been like some hard hitting like emotion episode like moments.
Which, as much as I love Kate Bishop, I think my favorite character in the show is Hawkeye's wife, who is like, clearly has some awesome secrets of herself. Like I always appreciate in movies when they have realistic depictions of relationships. Like most other shows would just be like, gosh, the kids really wish you were here. If you're better at your job, you'd be with us. Like guilt tripping him the whole time. Instead, this time she's like, I know the dangers this is. You're calling, you're communicating. I get that this is important. Take care of your business. The kids and I will still be here. Like, she's a totally competent wife, like the leader of the house, and he's just lucky enough to live there. But when he's like, you got some secret information, she does some digging on her own and can speak Russian? I'm sorry, you thought we wouldn't notice that?
Yeah, so
she's the coolest.
And
she's
my brother,
Velma.
Dude, like, what is happening? Like, yeah, so my brother was like, "Oh yeah," because they confirmed her as a SHIELD agent in Civil War, and I was like, "I don't remember that at all."
No, they didn't. That was a joke Tony made. Those are little agents.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, "Well, I'm okay with her not being a SHIELD agent. To me, that's just a symptom of having a husband
that's Hawkeye."
That is hot. Like, so it makes sense to me. I'm okay. She's like literally becoming my favorite character.
She's awesome. She's super mom, basically. Again, going through all the Spider-Man stuff, getting ready for Thursday night. Saw Amazing. I can't remember if I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 last week or not for the pod. Still hate it. Still bad. Homecoming is still my favorite. It's still, it's just so perfect. And then Far From Home is the thing that happens. Let's get into the news. I don't hate Far From Home. I really don't. I don't get the love for it because I was watching a review of it that it's the same guy that like didn't really enjoy Homecoming but loves Far From Home, which really confused me. He's just like, Far From Home fixed all the issues of Homecoming. I'm going, No, Far From Home kind of doubles down on the few issues that I had with
That's
Homecoming.
just so weird.
Like,
Yeah, that's such a weird take.
yeah, just like they doubled down on the Stark suit and the needing of Tony Stark and living in his shadow and like the global
Yeah.
scale, or basically him not wanting to be Spider-Man, whereas in Homecoming at least he tries to be a small hero, always wanting to help out people. Like, yeah, Far From Home I still am very disappointed with, but if the early reviews of No Way Home are any indication, I think I'm going to enjoy that quite a bit. Because I didn't put this down on the record before Avengers Endgame came out, I want to put it out on the record now of like things I want to see in a movie before it comes out. That way, if it does come true, I can be like, ha, see, it was on my wish list and it did come true. Like, I say that because like 2 or 3 weeks before Endgame came out, I told Heather, I'm just like, at some point in the MCU, I just need to hear Avengers Assemble and I need to hear Cap lift Thor's hammer. So when both happened in the span of like 4 minutes, I genuinely lost my voice and it was beautiful. And also I got burned before when Spider-Man Homecoming's first trailer came out. I did a video going, these are the things I want in a Spider-Man movie someday. And in the video, the rough draft of it, I said, I would love to see him with the spider wings someday. And then I cut it out of the video thinking that was too ridiculous and it'll never happen. The first trailer, he gets the freaking wings over the helicopter over the Washington Monument. I'm going, you did what now? So I'm going to put it on the record now. I need somebody, preferably Happy Hogan, but again, it doesn't have to be anybody specifically, just somebody to say, with great power comes great responsibility. I need Andrew Garfield to be the one that saves MJ, not Tom Holland. I need Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland all be together. But at this point, that kind of feels like the obvious surprise. But I think there's going to be larger surprises in store. I'm not saying Miles Morales is going to be in this movie, but the odds of him being in it have gone up for me. Because I saw the people at the red carpet, and while Toby and Andrew weren't there, Shameik Moore was, and he voices Miles in Into the Spider-Verse. I'm going, okay, this to me does not confirm that he's in the movie, but the odds are a little bit higher of it. That being said, Sasha Banks was also at the premiere, and I highly doubt she's in the movie too, because you know.
Oh no, she's the new MJ.
She had a dream that she was falling from a tall building.
Oh.
Had a dream I almost made it, then I got dropped.
Jeez. No, I think the things that are feel like they're certainties is that Toby and Garfield are going to show up. I think I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Miles shows up. I wouldn't be only because you and I have discussed it. I wouldn't be surprised if an Emma Stone Spider-Man would show up.
I'm sorry I put that into the ether.
I know, because now, like, if it doesn't happen, and like that moment where she and Garfield have like an interaction, like I'm not emotionally ready for that at all.
What if she catches MJ?
Oh, stop. Oh, I don't...
Like Andrew reaches out for her, but Spider-Gwen saves her instead.
Oh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that at all. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think... Venom's going to show up, but I don't know if it's going to be in this movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think Tom Hardy's Venom will show up.
You don't think
Topher Grace, that 70s Venom? No, I need the Japanese Spider-Man to show up with this giant mech robot at the end. Or Penny Parker.
Oh, imagine if Nicolas Cage's as Spider-Noir shows up. Imagine.
No joke.
I'd die.
You will hear my cries of adulation. Not even over a phone or over Messenger. You will just hear a distant squeal in the distance. And you'll just go, well, spoiler alert, apparently Cage is in Spider-Man. Because that's an unmistakable squeal.
Dude, I'm super excited. I feel better about getting excited about it now that we know that, Spider-Man. This isn't going to be the end of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This isn't. He's going to have another trilogy, whatever. And now I feel like I can relax and enjoy this movie and not have that in the back of my brain. Although if they end up doing that, it's probably going to be more heartbreaking.
Supposedly, from all the early reactions, it's a very emotional movie to which I'm just going, so we're going to kill Happy, just like I've been saying for a very long time. Also, I'm just going to put this out in the ether now. Pepper Potts, can she die? Doesn't have to have narrative sense. Just have a quick cutaway of Stark Tower blowing up and Pepper inside. Just, please. And I know that's cold and it has nothing to do with Spider-Man, but can we just kill Pepper?
No,
just kill all the Starks.
But then who's going to raise Morgan?
The streets.
We end up having a female gangster Iron Man in a few years. Oh man!
All right, okay. let's talk about some trailers. This news. There was a lot of trailers this week, which I thought was a little bizarre. We have the Halo trailer, but we're not going to talk about that this week because that was the definition of a teaser trailer. But a trailer that exists, I'll put it that way, is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. It's going to take me a while to get used to that name, just because I'm always I don't know why, I'm inclined to go, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Dumbledore. I'm going, oh wait, nope, that's merging the last one and this one. This trailer exists and worries me greatly. Because y'all know, if you've listened to the podcast for a length of time, I hated Crimes of Grindelwald so much. That and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, what I thought were the two worst movies of the years that they came out. I believe that was 2018 or 2019. Pandemic has kind of messed up my sense of time. I hated Crimes of Grindelwald. And a lot of the issues that I had with that movie don't seem to be alleviated by this trailer. I'm going, okay, Crimes of Grindelwald introduced a whole bunch of new characters and expected me to care about them or, remember their names. This trailer, I'm going, who are you? Who are you? I kind of remember you. But, oh, wait, weren't there one or two other characters that were with Newt? Where are they? Did we swap them out for somebody else? I will talk about some positives. There are some positives in this. I thought Jude Law in Crimes of Grindelwald was exceptional casting, and I think he's exceptional casting in this trailer too. From the little snippets that we get, I do get the sense that he's a young Dumbledore, minus his fashion choices.
Yeah, that's always weird.
That's always been the weird joke that I absolutely agree with, is at what point does Dumbledore go from average-looking professor to flamboyant wizard Elton John? His wardrobe in this is so normal. And then he goes to Dumbledore that we know and love with a gigantic beard and flowing robes. I'm going, so where's the connecting here? He looks fine. Again, it comes back to Newt. He feels so out of place in this. The story is clearly getting too big of it's leading to Dumbledore versus Grindelwald. A matchup that has always sounded interesting. But since they started with Fantastic Beasts, it feels like they kind of have to have Newt in here somewhere because they realized Hufflepuffs were underrepresented in the original stories except for Cedric Diggory. So they're just obligatory Hufflepuff. That'll make the fans happy. Just keep sticking him into stuff, whether he belongs there or not. So there's quite a few times that it was just okay, here's the Dumbledore story. And then there's the stuff going on with Newt. I don't particularly care about that. One other positive I had, and then we'll get into the rest of the trailer, is whoever they cast as Dumbledore's brother Aberforth, holy crap, that was spot on. I sometimes fail to see the connection between young Dumbledore and old Dumbledore from a aesthetic and a fashion sense choice. As soon as Aberforth talked and was shown on screen, I'm going, you don't even have to say his name or say that that's Dumbledore's brother. That voice is terrifyingly accurate.
Yeah,
and looks exactly like a young Aberforth. Granted, Aberforth got really underserved in the movies. He just kind of pops up in the final one. He's just oh, hey, BT Dubs, I'm Dumbledore's brother. And everyone's just going, wait, Dumbledore Dumbledore had a brother. Yeah, that was kind of a big element in the books. But run times. But holy crap, whoever did the casting for Aberforth nailed it. That voice is perfect. That look is perfect. Other castings, I like Mads Mikkelsen as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I do not envy his position, though, of stepping into the shoes and the controversy that is Johnny Depp. I hate Crimes of Grindelwald, and normally not a biggest fan of Johnny Depp as an actor. His Grindelwald was not the issue with that movie, though. His performance was not the problem of the movie. Granted, we don't see a lot of Grindelwald, but I was at least curious to see what he was bringing to the table, and I don't envy anyone that was brought in to replace him because of the situation that Depp finds himself into. But the easy solution was right in front of their faces, and I don't understand why they went with Mads Mikkelsen. Yes, he's a great actor. He's a great villain type, except for Caecilius and Doctor Strange. He's just kind of average there. But the easier solution was right in front of your face. Just bring back Colin Farrell from the first one. Because for most of the first movie, Colin Farrell was Grindelwald in disguise with Polyjuice Potion. So I'm just going, well, just say the Polyjuice Potion either is now a permanent decision and he's Colin Farrell full time, or just say that the Grindelwald, the Johnny Depp version of the Grindelwald, was the Polyjuice Potion version, and now he's gone back to his normal version, which is Colin Farrell. Like, why do you have to overcomplicate it?
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think about this trailer? Because it's wet. It's whatever.
Yeah, so the reason I think it feels wet is because it's technically supposed to be a continuation story of the Fantastic Beasts storyline, right? However, this gives me an idea, and this feels like a heist movie with wizards, and that's super interesting to me. Granted, the trailer was still but the idea of like a heist movie with wizards is super interesting. And I think you can totally get away with that if you don't feel the necessity to always be doing a series of movies. I don't understand this. I don't like, you could have just done so Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Cool. That can be a solo movie. Just leave it as is. Then just do Crimes of Grindelwald. You can just do that and have it be its own thing, and maybe hit it with a part 1, and then do like the Secrets of Dumbledore, and that's your part 2 or something. You know what I mean? So I don't understand the logic of them feeling like they have to do a series. They have to do in order for these to work, they have to be all part of one story. It doesn't make sense to me. That being said, there's certain things that are very interesting about this trailer. The little thing at the end with Newt is charming. It's very Hufflepuff, and I don't mind it. It does feel out of place in this trailer. Giving the Muggle a wand for what seems like no reason. Makes no sense.
I am not a fan of that. So I understand that Jacob's character is the audience surrogate. He's supposed to be the fill-in so that we can get exposition through him. But that's a little too blatant of an audience surrogate type of, all right, well, the audience has always wished that they had a wand, right? Well, this audience standing character is getting... Do you get that he's supposed to represent you guys? I'm going... Have you really... JK, you grew up these books with us, and it treated us like adults by the end of these books. Are we really going back to treating us like idiots again? And
yes.
The problem is, this is the middle movie. These are supposed to be 5 movies, and I'm going... Harry Potter, she knew what the ending was going to be, and already had 4 books by the time the first movie came out. So we already kind of knew the roadmap. This, I feel like it's, in typical Warner Brothers fashion, each passing movie is a retcon of steering the ship in a different direction, of over-course correcting. So we get more Hogwarts in this than we really need to. We get more references, and just like, oh crap, we need to do more stuff that people are familiar with, instead of, just mapping out your story and streamlining it, because there was so much stuff with Crimes of Grindelwald that made it so bloated. And the issue is, I firmly believe that this is the last shot for this series. Not saying for the Harry Potter franchise, but for Fantastic Beasts as a title. I think Crimes of Grindelwald was that damaging to the brand and lost them so much money. But also, the first Fantastic Beasts, while I don't particularly enjoy it, it did okay, but not Harry Potter numbers. The returns on these movies have not been very strong. Like, they've been steep declines. So I really think this is the last shot for this. Also, it's very interesting to keep in mind the larger ramifications of this. Universal in Orlando is building a new park. And so far, the two parks each have their own respective Harry Potter areas. And, of course, there will probably be a new Harry Potter area in this new park, too. In the early days, the rumors were it was going to be Fantastic Beasts related. Interesting now that those rumors are the exterior will be Fantastic Beasts, but inside the rides will be classic Harry Potter themed. I would not be surprised at all if Universal themselves is keeping an eye on this movie going, if it does well, push forward with it being Fantastic Beasts. If it doesn't, scrap it and make it a Harry Potter, a third section that's modern day Harry Potter, which would be very smart. This is Fantastic Beasts started on shaky ground and it's only gotten worse. I think it's starting Jenga with only two pieces as your foundation, basically, and going from there. And it's only gotten worse, I think, for the franchise.
Yeah, no, I agree. I personally kind of enjoyed the first one. I thought the concept of somebody, it didn't make sense why he was looking for animals and stuff like that. And that was just like shoved in the middle of this story that Ezra Miller happened to be a part of. It was just such a weird, convoluted tale that I would love to go to a section of a park and it be quote unquote Fantastic Beast related, and it really is just a walkthrough of the magical animals. I'm okay with that. That would be cool. But like, I don't know if this deserves it, and it's just, I just hope that Universal and Warner Bros. Don't see how these movies have been performing and go, oh, okay, that means people aren't interested in the Harry Potter world. They aren't interested in in magical movies. Granted, they're coming out with that 20th anniversary?
Trailer.
Show.
I think the trailer comes out whenever this podcast episode will come out.
Yes. So I'm excited about that. And I think that will show that people do have a love for this IP, but it's just not Fantastic Beasts. Even though I say that knowing on my desk I have Dumbledore's wand from these movies.
Also, it'll be interesting to keep in mind that this will be the first Fantastic Beasts movies to come out since all the massive J.K. Rowling controversies. Mm-hmm. So I guarantee you that will also hurt their bottom line, because you have a whole bunch of diehard Potterheads that will boycott this movie because of some stuff that she has stated. I won't be seeing this movie because the last one was bad. Like, the leash for this movie is so short, and after how bad the last one was, I'm just like, no, you gotta win me back. Just like Jurassic World will probably have to win me back, but I think I'm not as emotionally invested in Jurassic World that I'm willing to forgive. Like, it didn't burn me as bad as much. As much as I hated Crimes of Grindelwald and Fallen Kingdom, like, it felt more personal, even though it shouldn't, for Crimes of Grindelwald. I'm just going, well, also, Jurassic World makes stupid decisions in Fallen Kingdom, but it never breaks its own rules. They're stupid rules, but they don't break their own lore. Yeah. Crimes of Grindelwald just goes, oh, hey, you remember Harry Potter lore? Screw you. We're going to have McGonagall in this, even though she technically hasn't been born yet. Or, hey, we're just going to have people apparate into Hogwarts. I'm going, You can't apparate into Hogwarts. It's the safest place on Earth besides Gringotts. Ain't no safer place except for Hogwarts, maybe. Like, JK doesn't care, so why should I care anymore? Is kind of the stance I have, unfortunately, with this franchise right now.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's something I haven't really said much, but I have been writing a book, but like, whenever it involves magic, you have to have rules, and you have to stand by those rules in order for the world to make sense. So like anytime you just go, nah, we're gonna do whatever I want. Like magic is not you a story point in which which gives you the ability to do whatever you want. That's not how that works. You don't get to get out of tough situations and be like, whoop, magic. Like that's not how that works.
So magic isn't always the answer, but sometimes speed is. So let's talk about a much better trailer, like a surprisingly good trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'll be honest, I don't mind the first one. It's fine.
Yeah,
it was better than it had any right to be, but it by no means was like the best movie I saw that year. Like I kind of lumped that and Dora together of you should not be as good as you are, but I lean a little bit more towards Dora than Sonic. I still have my conspiracy theory that the whole terrible Sonic design was intentional, and it was the studio was always going to go with the design that we ended up getting. Which, speaking of the Sonic design, did they change it again for this movie? It feels
I think they amped it up,
the eyes feel a little different, but also it looks like there's more color to Sonic himself.
Yeah, he looks a little bluer,
which is totally fine with me.
Oh, absolutely.
I like color and vibrancy, especially with brightly colored video game characters. This trailer looks so much fun and just feels like classic Sonic. Like there's certain, not lines of dialogue, but sound elements that were missing from the first one. Like when he's rolling in place, that engine rev up noise, or the sound of the coins, or when he bops something, like those iconic Sega sounds. You're just like, ah, I'm getting touched in nostalgia and I like it. And then you get Tails, which it makes me happy that they did the anti-Chris Pratt Mario thing, which I'm not against that casting, actually, but the anti-Chris Pratt Mario casting, and not just get the biggest names available for Tails, they get the actual Tails voice actor. That goes a long way in going, cool, that's what I'm familiar with. I'm also not the biggest fan of Jim Carrey, but his Dr. Robotnik looks a lot better this time around. It looks closer to Dr. Robotnik, although he's like a quarter of the size of Dr. Robotnik. Like, he's not big yet, but maybe we're getting there.
You can't get fat on a planet that you're just trying to survive on. So
yeah, maybe. But then we get to, no joke, always has been, my favorite Sonic character, Knuckles.
Absolutely.
I was very hesitant of the Idris Elba casting. I was just like, this is going to be weird. And then he shows up. Who says I need your power? Oh! Sonic,
let's go.
Meet Knuckles. And I'm going, yes. Let's meet Knuckles. Let's go, boy. This feels fun. This is what a Sonic movie this is the type of Sonic movie that I'm looking for. Not just a Hop 2.0 because James Marsden is talking to a fuzzy thing. Like, this feels like a Sonic movie through and through. It looks... Did you never make that connection?
No, it's one of those, like, I've heard the joke, but, like, we've never said it out loud. And it's, because it is, like, it's a running gag that James Marsden, he just does movies with inanimate objects, and that's it.
Okay, so last movie, it was clearly sponsored by Olive Garden. Is this one going to be sponsored by Chili's? Like, because Knuckles is red?
Applebee's.
I feel Sonic in this Applebee's.
Oh, dude. Simple things, too. Like, so look at the poster. Like, Dr. Robotnik legit, like, sitting in one of those, his little floating chair that he directs, the robots from. Like, him coming down in an egg-shaped spaceship is huge. I popped so hard for that. And then his mustache actually, like, looking right. I was like, yes, awesome. And just Knuckles, I'm glad that they balanced the design between what he currently is in animation and what he, like, the Sonic X.
I was about to say, he feels very Sonic X to me.
He does, but, like, bigger Sonic X? Like, he's not this, like, scrawny, small guy that it doesn't make sense why he can punch stuff, cool. But he's also not, like, juiced up Sonic from the most recent Sonic show. Did you ever see that? Dude, this is terrifying. I'm not a fan.
So,
but Tails is great, and Tails is one of those ones that are tough to do. That his voice can be annoying.
Not as still no. The most annoying character though of all time is still either Baby Mario in Yoshi's Island, or Slippy from Star Fox. Help me, Fox! Nope, I'm just gonna let you die this round. You're an idiot, Slippy. Better be a pilot.
I don't know, man. And even in the Sonic X days, like his voice could be kind of grating. It's up there with Amy's, and I'm really not looking. That is the only character I'm not looking forward to.
Oh, you want just a human love interest instead?
I don't.
Sonic
doesn't need a love interest.
You want a Sonic 2006 situation?
Why can't stop? If this turns into a B movie, I'm gonna be mad, and not like the letter B, but like,
hey, you want to go fast?
Oh, no, sir. I just don't get why there can't be like three best friends. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get
three best friends. Anyone could have.
Also, Tails has his plane, and it's like legit the plane, and like dude, like you said, the first one, it was better than it had any right to be. And I'm still to this day being like, yeah, you should see Sonic. It's a good time. This trailer looks like I was caught off guard because it was like, by the middle of it, I was like, I'm surprised at how like excited I am for this movie. And then the Knuckles thing happened. It was like, oh, now I'm super excited. I might actually make an effort to go see this in theaters.
So, is it the second one or like the third or the fourth when we jump the shark and turn Sonic into a werewolf? Or sure, we've got Knuckles now. Is it too much to ask for at some point in the near future to get Shadow?
Because I think Shadow's next.
Yeah, I think Shadow is so cool. I need Shadow.
He's just because they use this to introduce the Chaos Emeralds, and Shadow is literally created from Chaos Emeralds. Excuse me. So it makes sense. It only makes sense that Shadow would be next after this.
So, just like we did with the Spider-Man thing, my bucket list of, oh my gosh, I need this, is I would like at some point in either this Sonic movie or one of the future Sonic movies, he's in that, like one of those like bright fields that you see in the games. I don't know like the maps very well.
No, I was laughing because I was like, I never thought that you and I would get to the point where we're like, all right, this is my wish list for a Sonic movie. Like, that's not a conversation I ever thought that we would have, but here we are.
No, I want this in one of like the maps of like how in Amazing Spider-Man 2 we get the POV web swinging. I want POV of Sonic running, like doing the loop, hopping over stuff, going into ball form quick. Like, I think that would be super fun to, not for the whole movie, but just for like a quick little 30-second POV shot, kind of like the speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi, getting a view through the trees, to seeing something at hyperspeed could be so fun. Like a Quicksilver scene, but instead of looking at him, we are him. I think that, now that I've said it.
That'd be fun.
Oh, do it. Do it.
Either that or like a orchestral version of the Sonic X theme song. Because you need a good Sonic theme, and there you go, man. Either that or like the title screen of the original game.
That's the opening credits for this movie.
Dude, I would pop so hard. It's just so amazing to me that we're in a place, movies-wise, where legitimately anything can happen, and like it can be good. Like, oh, dude, I'm so happy about it. Speaking of anything can happen.
Yeah, speaking of anything can happen in movies nowadays, we're getting a Nicolas Cage movie about Nicolas Cage as a character, as a person, portrayed by the real Nicolas Cage. If it sounds confusing, it's probably because it is a little bit. So in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and yes, that's the actual name of the movie, the real Nicolas Cage
love it.
Is hard on money. He's strapped for cash, you know. like the real Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage was.
And so Neil Patrick Harris tells him about this opportunity that a rich guy, played by Pedro Pascal, is offering him $1 million just to hang out with him as Nicolas Cage, just because he's a Nicolas Cage super fan. This movie has actually been on my radar since the beginning of last year when it first got announced, because I'm going, the concept of this is so bizarre, and also Josh and I have advocated for Nicolas Cage for the longest time, and so many people have slept on him, and I feel like this movie's going to lean into that, because you get Tiffany Haddish and that guy that's in a whole bunch of comedies, like, wasn't he in, like, Blockers or something like that? And they're all just like, yeah, I used to love Nicolas Cage in, like, The Rock and Con Air, and I'm just going, have you not seen him in anything for the past 10 years? Like, he's been in some great stuff. Like, Nicolas Cage is great. Don't just say his old stuff. Talk about his current stuff, too. And so, I'm like, come on now. But so he shows up, and it's just Nicolas Cage pretending to be himself, goofing off with Pedro Pascal. At one point, there's a gigantic dummy of him with the two guns from Face Off. And she's like, yeah, it's so grotesque. I'll offer you $20,000 for it. Yeah. Like, it's so dumb. Dude. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this will be the less serious version of Honey Boy. Of, like, the movie will start as, oh, it's Nicolas Cage, it's so funny to be Nicolas Cage. And then as the movie progresses, it will kind of be a love letter to Nicolas Cage and kind of his, just like a, it's not as, I'm not always okay with people seeing me as the crazy Nicolas Cage. Like, I'm still a person. I still have issues that I've had to work through. I can absolutely see this movie taking that turn, and I'm very much looking forward to it. That, and when Nicolas Cage wants to be funny, he's wicked funny, and Pedro Pascal is wicked funny. This I think is going to balance that line carefully of dumb humor, because there's some dumb jokes in this when they're high and they're trying to get over the wall. You're heavier than you look. I have a big head. And he drops
falls on his head.
It's like, oh, Mr. Cage, guess we could have walked around the wall. Yeah, I guess we could have. Like,
or like what he says when he first meets Pedro Pascal's character on the dock.
I'm not going to screw your wife. I'm not going to watch you screw your wife. I'm not going to do whatever to this Javi guy. What's your name? Javi. Like bows to him.
Like, it is. I do think this is going to go full Honey Boy, and I'm really ready for it. I feel like this would be the opportunity for Nicolas Cage to tell his story of like, hey, like, I was really down on my luck for a long time financially, and I had to do a lot of crappy movies in order to just pay the bills. And then that kind of became my thing.
Or like, I am aware that some of these movies are bad. That being said, I love making movies, because that's often been what Nicolas Cage says, even about his bad movies. He's just like, I love the creative process. I love just being in movies. And I think people make fun of him for that. They're like, he just loves being in movies. Isn't that funny? I'm like, are you just mad that he gets to be in whatever movie he feels like? Yeah. Like, what's so wrong about him being in so many movies? And we're not just saying that as big Nick Cage fans. It's just like, I think so many people just see, oh yeah, Nick Cage is a great action star back in the day. Yes, he's been in a lot of low budget stuff, but he's still really good in a lot of stuff. Like, I'll talk about it later for our discussion. He's so good in Pig. Or this year alone, he's got 3 wildly different movies. He's got Willy's Wonderland. He's awesome in that without saying a word. Pig, completely opposite of Willy's Wonderland, of a sad, dramatic character piece. Then follows that up with Prisoners of the Ghostland, a balls to the wall nuts movie where he has explosive to his nuts, essentially. And it's a Shudder exclusive, like one of those type of weird sci-fi-esque type movies, Sci-Fi Channel, not the genre. And he's willing to try everything, and that's awesome. I don't get the people making fun of Cage. I think at times Nicolas Cage, it comes across, and I don't know if people intended or not, as mean-spirited. Like, he's having fun. I enjoy when Nick Cage is having fun because I'm having fun. Not ironically. I see this as he's a different actor than a lot of others. He is fearless. He's having fun. I'm not saying he's Tommy Wiseau of acting. He's much better than that. But Tommy Wiseau is fearless. Nicolas Cage is fearless. I appreciate that. He's one of my favorites, completely unironically. And this is a project that I've been excited for because it feels like an idiotic love letter in the best sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, it just feels like this says everything that I love in a Cage movie. It's ridiculous Cage antics. His, like, the bow thing makes no sense, but I love it. There's just...
It kind of gives me a sense that like might actually be how he would greet me.
Oh, I, without a doubt, think that's how he greets people. Honestly, just ask, like, anytime you have any questions if Nick Cage is really this wild in real life, go ask Elijah Wood. His interview on First We Feast for Hot Ones, they talk about Nicolas Cage very briefly when him and that movie they did called The Trust, which I still recommend to this day. It's just like, it was just one of those like most surreal moments that he's like, wow, I'm acting with the Nick Cage. Like, that's so cool. You know what I mean? So it just, I don't think that you and I are spitting hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
I do that every time and not even on purpose. Doing hyperbole in that, like, Nicolas Cage is genuinely one of the most entertaining human beings on the face of the planet. I'll watch it, and I'm literally going to go watch either Pig or Willy's Wonderland after this because I realized I hadn't watched it. But yes,
both of them are great. I think you'll enjoy both, but for wildly different reasons.
Like, even just thinking about like Nick Cage doing like you and I love him for like Wicker Man and Drive Angry, but then he did a movie. What was that? Joe.
Joe, I've heard is phenomenal,
and it's super. I had to like stop it because I was not in the headspace. I was expecting like a typical Cage movie, but it is like gritty and he's acting really well in it, and I was not ready for it. But it's just, I think
again, he's putting in good performances, but people don't want to put in the effort to find them.
Yes, because they see that's just Nick Cage. He's just crazy. It's like, honestly, dude, he's been putting out bangers for the past 5-10 years.
He's already getting awards consideration for Pig, and darn right, he's good. Awesome.
I love it. If Lamb can be considered a serious movie, I see no reason why Pig cannot be taken seriously.
Now, some news that kind of just came out of nowhere. They just felt like dropping it. Maybe it's because I'm not like a diehard video gamer. I play quite regularly, but I'm not like the biggest game person. So I completely missed my radar that the Video Game Awards were this past week. And obviously with the Video Game Awards, there's going to be some big announcements. And we had not one, not four, but three big announcements in particular. Confused Josh.
Not one, not two, but three. Four. Three, sir. Three. Counting to three.
But three, I'm sure there's more than three, but three big titles of note that I was not expecting at all. They just kind of came out of nowhere because they're massive IP-related projects. We're getting a new Star Wars game, Star Wars Eclipse. Josh is still broken.
I'm sorry. I have the whole holy hand grenade scene going in my head right now. It is just such a good time. I'm sorry. Keep going.
So we have Star Wars Eclipse coming, which probably has the best trailer of all these that we'll talk about. A new Wonder Woman game, and a Texas Chainsaw game from the makers of the Friday the 13th game. We'll start with the Texas Chainsaw one. I'm conflicted because I both love and hate the Friday the 13th game. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a love letter to the Friday the 13th genre, and it's fun. I hate it because it's the buggiest game I have ever played. Oh my god. Like, it's fun, but it's fun in spite of the bugs. It is ridiculous how buggy this game is. Granted, they dropped support for it for a long time, and they could never quite figure out all the bugs. However, I'm not as worried about that for this because they were they will have more funding this time around. They will have more
Yeah.
resources. Like Friday the 13th was never intended actually to be a Friday the 13th game. It was just supposed to be a slasher game that they found out they can get the rights for, and then that kind of blew up in their face when the whole Friday the 13th legal battle happened. Whereas there's no legal battle currently going on for Texas Chainsaw, so that shouldn't be an issue here. I like the concept of Friday the 13th type games, whether it's Friday the 13th, Predator Hunting Grounds, Dead by Daylight especially is like the go-to name for these type of movies. Or dare we bring up the cursed name that is Evolve. Oh, God.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea in concept. So I'm excited to see this. That being said, I don't know if there'll be as much variety in the game as there was with Friday the 13th. Like, Friday the 13th had literally every Jason available to you, whereas this killer's basically Leatherface. Like, I know the other members of the family will be there, and it kind of goes without saying for me, sure, this is cool, but when we heard that Friday the 13th wasn't getting support anymore and we might be getting a new horror franchise, Texas Chainsaw was not the one that I was hoping to get. I was hoping we were going to get a Halloween game that from the guys that made Friday the 13th. Because put the exact same mechanics for Friday the 13th in. Instead of Jason, it's Michael. Get all the different skins because Michael has changed his look wildly. Like, if Josh wanted to play as Halloween Resurrection Michael Myers, where you can see his eyes and maybe have Busta Rhymes in it.
Dude, say less.
And Friday the 13th, you can get power-up characters. If you do enough tasks, you can come in as Tommy Jarvis. Say in Halloween, if you get enough power-ups, you can come in as either Laurie Strode from 2018 or Halloween H2O or Dr. Loomis as your power-up character, and you can shoot. You would need to shoot Michael 6 times in order to escape. Or you can play as Laurie's regular character. You got Lindsay Wallace, Tommy Doyle, maybe not them when they're kids, because, child slaughter, but Rachel from part 4, maybe bring back Danielle Harris as an adult because she was in the Rob Zombie ones. I really wish it was Halloween instead. That being said, I'll still check out this game because I like the concept of those one versus many type games. Josh does not give a crap because it's Texas Chainsaw.
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I could care less. Literally, I would take a Friday the 13th game over a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's saying so because I don't like Friday the 13th.
I've never asked you, have you played any of those like one versus many games like Predator or Friday the 13th?
I played Dead by Daylight.
You and I used to play that.
Yeah,
every once in a while. And then you sucked at it.
On like the beta and stuff like that. Well, we sucked at it because it was just me versus you.
No. It was bad because it was just you and me, and you'd be like, "Oh hey, look, a pumpkin," and I would just go, Hey, I know exactly where you are. Don't tell me where you're at."
No. Yeah.
You're just like, "Oh, look, this map looks pretty. I'm right here." And I'm going.
You can't blame, but the thing is too, Dead by Daylight has done a really good job integrating people like Michael Myers, like
Leatherface is in Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm. Pyramid Head, like all these really like iconic ones, horror characters, but it just like this is supposed to be like in the same vein as Friday the 13th, like
hopefully less buggy.
Yeah, Sorry, I misspoke. I would prefer a Nightmare on Elm Street game over this. And you know how much I don't like the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Actually, I don't think I did know that.
Yeah, no, I hate it. I don't think it's good. But in the audience, I got a bunch of people that I'm losing my horror creds with. But to me, if you're gonna do Texas Chainsaw Massacre and do that as a game, I feel like it's better to do it like a single player. Like, I know multiplayer games are all the rage these days, but like do it as a single player game where you are actively running from Leatherface. Like, that's the whole point of the game. Like, I feel maybe it's because I much prefer single player adventure games, but like I just feel like it's missing. You're kind of sliding yourself and cutting yourself short when you're just like, no, this is going to be multiplayer only. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
I do
you
wish Dead by Daylight had an offline mode.
Yeah, like think about games like Dead Space. Dead Space has an incredible single player campaign, and it has a it had an equally awesome multiplayer mode. So I think it's Texas Chainsaw. I'm not interested in it already, and then you're just gonna do the same game that's already been done twice. It's just that's boring and stupid to me. I just whatever.
So we also get Wonder Woman, but we didn't get a lot of info from that. So, I mean, I'm interested in that. I think it's cool that we're finally getting a Wonder Woman game, even if I'm still mad that Rocksteady's Superman game got canceled, because I think that could have been fun. Yeah, Wonder Woman was essentially just a tease, so we don't really have much to go off of that. The Star Wars trailer, I'm conflicted about.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, the music is outstanding of that beat slowly picking up more and more and more. Was it just me, or visually did it look like it's from all kinds of different eras, so I couldn't really get a sense of when it was? I'm just like, wait, that looks kind of prequel-esque. No, but that kind of looks like sequel trilogy-esque. Then that kind of looks more original trilogy. When is this set? Like, I know it's supposed to be set in the High Republic era, but
I see, but like I know absolutely nothing about this. So like
that's all
when
I know
saw
is High Republic.
yeah, so like I saw the trailer and was like, cool music, great cinematic, like beautiful, beautiful. Probably won't be the graphics of the game, but whatever. I don't know. PS5 is a thing now. Kind of, not really.
Hey, you can get it in purple now.
Oh, okay, yeah. When I can get it, and it's
Yeah.
not.
For those like 10 people that have a PS5, you can get it in different color sides now, but
That's
everyone else is
so-
going, can we get more in stock, please? Nope, you get more color options for those that have it.
Yeah, that's just stupid. That's a whole rant for another day. But yeah, I'm with you. There's a lot of stuff in this trailer. I was like, I don't know when or where we are in the Star Wars universe. There's I always see art of a very specific bounty hunter. He's got like a cowboy hat and stuff like, but he's like, there's a character in this trailer that looks a lot like him without the cowboy hat, and I was
Cad
like,
Bane?
maybe he's the alien with the big eye, the big
Yeah,
black
Cad
eyes,
Bane
and he's
and the
got
cowboy hat.
yeah, yeah. So there's a character that turns around in this trailer that looks like a lot like Cad Bane, and it was like, oh, okay, that could be fun. But I just don't know what we're doing here. It's not like Squadrons where I could be like, as hard as Squadrons is to play.
Yeah. Steep
It's
learning curve on that one.
Yeah, but it's not like I can look at it. I can look at Squadrons and know exactly. Excuse me. It knows exactly what I'm getting. I know exactly what era I'm in. I know exactly what I'm in for. And I mean, even with Last Order, is that right? Yeah,
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order, same thing.
Last Order. The last time I went to McDonald's, it was my last order.
No, but Fallen Order. Sorry. You know exactly when, and where it is in the timeline.
Yeah.
And just saying High Republic era doesn't necessarily mean anything when you've basically thrown out the entire extended universe. You know what I mean? So like we have no necessarily
And the only High Republic stuff that we've gotten are
timeline.
comic books and some
Yeah,
books. Like, we haven't
exactly.
gotten a lot of mainstream stuff. Like, High Republic, I've heard there's some good material in there, but so far I consider High Republic a failure because it hasn't really penetrated into the mainstream, really. Like, it's just... Us diehards have heard of it, but I can't tell you much about it. And if I ask my parents, who are definitely more the casual Star Wars fans, the OG generation, I don't think they would know what the High Republic is or have any recollection of what it is.
So we'll see what happens. Again, if those are, I know it's a cinematic, so I'm definitely taking it with a grain of salt. But if the game actually looks like that, I'm gonna play it no matter what.
Now, lastly, it's one that when I first read the headline, I wasn't that interested, and then I read the rest of it and I was going, this makes so much sense that I'm actually surprised no one's done this before. So I'm not the biggest Phantom of the Opera fan. I still kind of technically count him as a Universal monster, even though he really isn't. But he's the guy that gets grandfathered in. Yeah, we'll count you, whatever. But apparently we're getting a new Phantom of the Opera movie set in modern day New Orleans. And I'm going, you know what? That actually kind of really, really makes sense to me. Because maybe you incorporate some of the mysticism and voodoo elements that are so well known in the New Orleans area. That's kind of like part of the mythology and the lore. Setting it in modern time, I know opera is in the name, but maybe it's Phantom of the Opera with a jazz twist. Mm-hmm. I think that could be a really interesting update. Or
yeah, an opera could just be him living in an opera house. It doesn't necessarily have to be about opera music. Yeah, but I'm with you. Like, I was like, okay, new Phantom of the Opera movie, whatever. But in a modern day in New Orleans, that's an interesting take. That's cool.
Take out New Orleans, and I don't think I'm that interested.
Correct.
But put New Orleans in there with the voodoo. But also, if you're setting it in modern day, maybe it's weird that my mind goes to this, but maybe you could absolutely play on the whole race factor of the history that could be implemented with New Orleans. Of maybe there's some cultural relevance to it, which I would not be surprised given who's involved with it. I know John Legend is one of the producers on this, so maybe we get factor in some race, which was not really prevalent in the first one. In fact, Phantom of the Opera is often known for how white it really is. There's only one character of color, and he's really not a factor in it. So I think that could be a very interesting take to have, of maybe the Phantom is a very much older person that had to endure a lot of prejudice, and maybe his disfigurement was caused by racial injustice, not born with it, but maybe caused by the evil of the world, so to speak.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think
there's definitely a lot more deeper stories to tell here than there would be if they say they tried to remake Gerard Butler in Phantom of the Opera.
Which credit to Gerard. He can have fun at his own expense for that. He's talked in interviews before that he's just, the Wired autocomplete interview? He's just like, does Gerard Butler sing in Phantom? If you read the remarks on the internet, yes, in fact, I do. Like, he can poke fun at himself. He can poke fun at himself for that movie, which I've always appreciated when actors can poke fun of themselves. Like, he knows that he's just like, yes, I did sing. I don't know if I sung well, but I sung. I appreciate that.
We can confirm it was not well, but yeah. But yeah, this definitely just offers more interesting story, ability to tell more interesting stories than if you were just bring it back. Which is, I think, to me, why I liked Invisible Man, the remake they just did. It wasn't like, all right, let's try to do this in the 50s again or whatever. You know what I mean? It was, okay, what would that look like in a modern context? Let's take the basis of this character. What does that look like? And to me, that's more interesting than trying to remake something that there have been countless renditions of. And I know some people love the era of film, that black and white, that style of costuming. It doesn't interest me. It's been done too much, and it doesn't. Give me something new that I can stick my teeth into. And if you're going to go back to that era, give me a reason why you're staying there and not going somewhere else.
Yeah. Also, maybe it's just because of how aesthetically I view New Orleans is. I've always thought New Orleans was beautiful looking, but a hint of creepy. I need this to be scary again. Like, Phantom of the Opera is not necessarily a horror movie, but there's horrific elements to it that are a little creepy and unsettling. I would like to get back to those type of story elements to Phantom of the Opera. Make it scary. Make it creepy, so to speak. Like, not necessarily the scariest movie out there, but the Gerard Butler one is the only thing scary about that is his singing. Like I need actually singing scariness to it.
Okay, so let's take a ride with me here. Take a ride. Um, what if they go full Crow on this Phantom of the Opera? So still keep it where he's deformed and stuff like that, but like he is this creepy. I don't want to use the word vigilante because this is kind of like the thing that he
No,
does.
because if we get into vigilante, we're getting too close into Love Never Dies territory, and no thank you.
And it just,
we don't want to
like,
be reminded of that. Which, yes, people, I did just make a Love Never Dies reference in 2021. I'm cultured, dang it.
I like the idea of, I just see this shot of him on the roofs of, I don't know, Bourbon Street or something like that, and like some coat flowing in the wind, and him like, I haven't decided if I personally would want this to be a musical, but like I just like the idea of a Phantom of the Opera character in New Orleans. There's just so much, just so much you could do there.
Sterling K. Brown as the Phantom. Because he already has singing experience with Frozen 2.
So are we going? So you do want him to be like of color then?
I do. I think that would be a really interesting story element.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Bring diversity to monsters.
Oh yes.
Because a lot of the Universal monsters, and I'm not, again, Phantom of the Opera, I don't often think of, but it kind of is. It's very white. And I think New Orleans, its history is very diverse, and I would like to tap into that aspect of New Orleans history.
Yeah. I'm done. I got nothing else to say about that. I mean, it's one of those things, like, the idea of it is very, very interesting to me, and I'm super here for it. Like, if we ever did a werewolf, we do have a werewolf movie.
We do.
But if it happens, if it takes place on the side of a mountain in rural America, or like in the woods over in Europe, like that's not interesting to me.
So as per usual, our sponsor is TeePublic, the only place where you can get Uncharted media merch. Check it out. We've got a whole bunch of shirt designs. If you want to rep the shirt, rep the show in any way, wear it on a shirt, drink it out of a mug, write it down on a notepad, whatever you're feeling, and you want it with Uncharted Media logo on it, TeePublic is the place to do it. Now, let's dwell on the year that was. As is our annual tradition, we look back on the best and the worst of 2020 or 2021, whatever the given year was. I'm just stumbling on my words, but this year was interesting for movies because I don't know about you, Josh, but it felt like the movie theaters and box office were like kind of tiptoeing of like, well, we don't know if we're back to normal or not yet. So like none of the big movies except for Spider-Man No Way Home, I think that's part of the reason why I'm so excited for this, is because that feels big. Not a lot of other movies this year like feel big. Like we had some big movies, but it felt like theaters were kind of like testing the waters, whereas 2022 will be the full return. Any unforeseen circumstances coming, but just general thoughts. What did you think about this year movie wise?
I mean, movie wise, I thought I saw a lot more than I did. Come to realize I saw a lot. I didn't see a lot of new movies this year, I think is the key. There's a lot. I mean, I was going through lists of movies that came out this year, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like, and like in making this list, it was one of those realizations that, oh man, the list of movies I need to see from this year is a lot longer than the movies that I did see. So I feel, even though this was a tough year, there's a lot of really good, and like maybe not quote unquote big movies, maybe not, and I think that's tough to compare scale when it's Spider-Man No Way Home, the end of a series, like coming up at the end of this year, in comparison to something like Gunpowder Milkshake or Snake Eyes, or even really like something that we had been waiting for with Godzilla versus Kong. Like there was a lot of really cool stuff that came out this year, and I mean that's not like a bit of it. I don't know. There's some good stuff. I think overall I would say more good movies came out this year than bad.
Yeah, it did feel like we had more than 2020, obviously, but it still did feel kind of thin in terms of movie releases. So before we go into the best and the worst of this year, unlike almost any other movie-related thing out there, I'm going to hold myself accountable for stuff and call myself out when I mess things up, and also pat myself on the back when I get things right. So every year we do our predictions. This year, Josh was taking a sabbatical mental health break when we were doing our predictions at the beginning of this year. So it was Michael who's joined us for a couple episodes. Great friend of the show. He and I did our predictions. Michael, you suck at predictions. But to be fair, there's quite a few big whiffs that I take, and a whiff in every sense of the word. So we're going to go over those real quick just to see for 2021 what we got right, what we got wrong, just so we can't just hide behind those predictions and be like, well, we never made those. We own up to our mistakes every once in a while on the show. So box office wise, I said that Shang-Chi will be the highest grossing box office movie. I don't think that's the case. I think right now Fast 9 might be the top. No matter what, it's going to be Spider-Man. No matter what, Spider-Man's poised to have a huge weekend this weekend. I said A Quiet Place 2 and Ghostbusters Afterlife will be big box office draws, and in a sense, that is true. A Quiet Place 2 was the first pandemic-era movie to gross $100 million at the box office, and Ghostbusters Afterlife has been quietly crushing it at the box office. Like, I think it opened to, like, $35 or $40 million. I said Mortal Kombat, Chaos Walking, and Dune will flop. I was happy to be wrong about Dune. While it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, and I thought it was just fine, it far surpassed my expectations, which I'm happy about. Chaos Walking, that was a softball. You could have seen that coming a mile away. For those asking, Chaos Walking is a movie with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley that no one saw because it should have come out years ago. Mortal Kombat, I don't think it was a flop, but it definitely underperformed because, bad. It went on HBO Max, which definitely hurts some movies. I said sleeper hits would be West Side Story. Wah, wah. Again, I've heard it's great, but only making $10 million opening weekend is bad. Mm-hmm. And then I also said Jungle Cruise would be a sleeper hit, which, pulling it up, so far Jungle Cruise made around $220 million worldwide. So I'd say I was right about that one. I don't know what the budget was. Michael, on the other hand, said the highest grossing movie of this year, let's all laugh together. He said The Suicide Squad would be the highest grossing movie of the year.
Oof, that kind of hurts. Because I would have totally wanted that. So I'm looking at it. According to this website, boxofficemojo.com, Shang-Chi is so far the number one.
Heck yeah! Heck yeah!
At $224.5 million.
Well, again, Spider-Man's going to blow that out of the water.
That's the thing.
Probably opening weekend.
So so this is like pretty, like showing us what this year's been like. Behind that is Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So
where's Fast 9 on that list? Because I know Fast 9
number 4.
Okay, I know Fast 9 made quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael said that The Suicide Squad will be the top movie of the year. He also, here's where we can really laugh at Michael. Michael, I love you, but still. He said Black Widow will make $1 billion at the box office.
That hurts.
Maybe if it was a better movie.
Yeah.
He also said the biggest flops of the year will be Morbius. Don't know. It's in limbo. It comes out next year. It got delayed. Any of these predictions, I'm taking off if they are now 2022 related movies. So like anything Uncharted, Top Gun, Mission Impossible 7, any of those. Can't do anything about that. He said Morbius and The King's Man would be the biggest flops. He's probably going to end up being right about The King's Man. That's not tracking well. I'm not hearing good things about that. It's also going up against Spider-Man and The Matrix, so it probably will suck. Not at the box office quality-wise, but financially it'll probably suck. And then he said No Time to Die won't make a lot of money. No Time to Die is currently made about $770 million worldwide. So, good job, Michael. And then general predictions, Michael said that Godzilla vs. Kong will end the MonsterVerse and not do financially well at the box office.
Wow, yeah, that was wrong.
Yep, we're getting more because it did so well. Then the rest of these are ones that I made. Some of them I was close and others way off on. As I do. I said Rami Malek will actually be Dr. No in James Bond No Time to Die. Nope. He really is just a dude named Safin. He probably should have been Dr. No. I said Kong will beat Godzilla in an upset in Godzilla vs. Kong. And I said it would be Mechagodzilla. I said it was going to be Mechagodzilla way back in college. I remember talking to one of my roommates in college when the first Godzilla came out. I said, I bet you the sequel will be Mechagodzilla, and then the third movie, when it's Godzilla vs. Kong, will be Mechagodzilla. No, wait, the second movie would be Ghidorah, and then the third one would be Mechagodzilla. Yeah. So I was like, boom, spot on. I said no Tom Holland in Venom 2.
Correct.
Technically, I'm wrong about that, and technically, I'm right. Because I'll own up to it, I'll say that I was wrong because he's technically in it, even if the actor physically is not. This one is the only one of these that I go TBD. I said Florence Pugh will become the new Black Widow, and we'll see her in other MCU projects.
I think we'll find that out by the end of the year.
We don't know if she's Black Widow. However, I was right in that. Well, we did see her in other MCU projects in 2021. She just slid under the laser, so to speak, just in time of 2021 predictions. I said, again, don't know if I can verify this one yet. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will be in Spider-Man 3, but as extended cameos. I also said that Spider-Man will be called Home Away from Home. So, wrong about that.
That was wrong.
Yeah. I still think that's a good name, though. I said Michael Jordan will be in Space Jam 2 as one of the opponents, like on the Monstars squad.
That was not true.
Yep. I also said that Spiral will secretly be a prequel to the Saw movies.
No.
Now, this next...
I think it's never quite clear.
Okay, now here's where I get, like, spot on with some of these. So, spoiler alert for Ghostbusters Afterlife, Halloween Kills, and The Suicide Squad. So, if you don't want anything spoiled for you, I was dead on about Ghostbusters Afterlife when I said one of the original Ghostbusters will be a ghost themselves. So, nice. I was spot on about that with Harold.
Spoiler for me, but yeah.
It's the one guy that's not alive anymore.
What? That's not possible.
So then Halloween Kills, I said that Laurie will survive, but Karen will die, and we will also see the return of the Myers house. So, boom.
Yep.
I also said that Starro will be the main villain of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but that felt like a softball.
Yeah, it did.
A little bit.
I said Taika Waititi will be voicing King Shark.
Nope. I'm glad that you were wrong about that, honestly.
Yeah. I said Nathan Fillion will be playing Arm Fall Off Boy.
Yeah, basically.
It's the detachable kid, but Arm Fall Off Boy. I said the survivors will be Harley, Polka Dot Man, Rick Flag, and Weasel. So I was half right.
Well, I mean, not really, because Polka Dot Man's not alive.
Weasel's alive.
Oh, true.
Weasel and Harley survived. Also, I was not prepared when I made that prediction for how emotionally invested I would be in the death of Rick Flag.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Then lastly, we always make announcements, not like box office or movies that are coming out in 2021, but movies that we think will be announced in 2021. So Michael, God bless his heart, said a new head of Lucasfilm will be announced in 2021.
Yeah, well,
keep dreaming.
I think because she's in for another 3 years.
Yeah, her contract got extended.
Yeah.
I said the Fantastic Four will be cast, and John Krasinski and Emily Blunt will have the roles.
That's not bad.
I also said John Krasinski will be announced to be directing a Universal Monster movie. That didn't happen. I said a new Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street movies will be announced.
No.
I also said that the legal issues, though, with Friday the 13th will be resolved, and I was technically right about that. I said we'll get our first trailer for The Flash. I was right about that. And then I immediately lose credibility when I said Nicolas Cage will be added to the cast as Superman, which, I mean, we don't know that hasn't. Also, I'm going to hurt Josh's soul here a little bit. I said that a Batman Beyond and a Teen Titans movies will be announced. And then lastly, I said a new Superman movie with Henry Cavill will be announced with J.J. Abrams producing but not directing, but it won't be a sequel to Man of Steel or Batman vs. Superman. So once we get to the announcement stuff, I crapped the bed and I was a little spotty, but still better than Michael. Love you, Michael.
I mean, this year was interesting.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a crapshoot this year.
Yeah, because especially like when we get to worst movies, there's one on that list that I didn't think I was going to be putting it on that list, but the more I thought about it, unfortunately, it's there.
Yeah, I have 3 things in my worst, and none of them I thought were truly awful. Just looking at the things that I saw, I'm like, this is bottom tier. Granted, I know there was some bad movies. I heard horrendous things about Thunder Force, but I'm going, no thanks. It's a Netflix movie, so no.
I don't even know what that is.
It's basically Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer as superheroes. Directed by Paul Feig.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so we're breaking this down into 4 parts. We have best movies of the year, so best of the year, worst of the year, underrated movies of the year, and best movie moments of the year. So of those 4, Josh, where should we start first?
Let's get the worst out of the way, man. I want to end this year talking about good movies. So let's get the worst out of the way.
Okay. Yeah. Start us off.
My first it's gonna be Mortal Kombat. It had
really
so much potential and just absolutely does not deliver. It's like what's that Jeff Dunham line? You polish a turd, it's still a turd. Just because it had really cool looking.
I've never heard that one before.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, dude, it's from one of his specials where the monkey that he brings out and is talking about some city in like Arizona or something. He's like, you polish a turd, it's still a turd. But it's a very pretty movie. But ultimately, it comes down to it's just.
You mean Mortal Kombat ultimately?
I hate it. It finishes in a spot that's very much like, well, this is just basically cringe. This is the same cringe as a movie from the 80s. Like, this is...
So it's a fatality?
It's stupid. I hated it so much.
Also, having even seen the movie, and the people involved with the movie don't even like it. But the Cole Young character... No, the people involved with it were big fans, and they clearly had fun making the movie, but the Cole Young character of a descendant of Scorpion was just a bad choice. Like, just leave it as your core cast of original game characters, which I'm still... Cast Miz as Johnny Cage, please. It's just too perfect. Like, it's...
Missed opportunity.
Well, there's still a sequel coming, probably, but it might be an HBO Max exclusive.
It will be an HBO Max exclusive.
So... I won't talk about my HBO Max movie, but I'll talk about another streaming movie that I'm going. It's not the worst movie I've seen, but it was just fine. Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, the one that for some reason didn't come out much sooner. It's Eddie Murphy's back, and he's got to find his kid in America that he never knew that he had to be the new heir of... Why am I blanking on where he lives? It doesn't matter. The movie sucked. It just... it wasn't funny. Like, it's clearly PG-13 Eddie Murphy, which is not necessarily a bad thing. We've gotten PG. We've had PG Eddie Murphy with Donkey, and he made that work. It just was forgettable. Like, other than one moment, which I actually will put on my best moments list just because of who is involved with it, other than like one or two specific moments. I don't remember anything about Coming to America. It is a far bar from the original one, which, while not my favorite comedy, still has quite a few moments that made me laugh. And there's no Samuel L. Jackson, and he was such a good thing in the original. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I only have one other one for worst. I think Green Knight is one of the worst movies of the year.
Wow.
You know how much that hurts me to say. It's a very well shot movie. It's a very beautiful movie. But it doesn't really tell a coherent story. And even when it the story of the Green Knight is a weird tale, right? So like, you're going to have to explain some things. So you can't just have the belt of truth thing, that whole scene, used in a sexual manner and just not explain why and what happened, and also kind of not committing to the ending at all.
I don't mind the ending. I wish the movie. I did the research and I looked into the story of the Green Knight ahead of time, and I think it's an interesting, cool morality tale. I don't mind an ambiguous ending. That's fine.
Yeah.
I wish the movie was clearer about the identity of the Green Knight, because I think that would have gone a long way to answering some character motivations for certain people, because without explanation as to the Green Knight's identity, there's certain characters that you're just kind of, well, why are you here at all?
Yeah.
And they're characters that are done by actors that I really, really enjoy, and I felt they were wasted.
And that's the thing. Like, I really, really liked this version of King Arthur. I really, really liked this version of... There was so much I liked about the movie, but the story in whole was ultimately really not interesting. Like, a lot of interesting stuff happens, but it's not... It's just boring. And it's too artsy for its own good. And it's like, it's frustrating because I was really, really looking forward to Green Knight.
Yeah, the trailers were fantastic. I won't put it in my worst, but if I had a most disappointed list, that would probably be up there. It does very much feel like, look how pretty we are.
I mean, it's an A24 movie, so.
That's true. You know, a movie that's very, very similar to The Green Knight, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Because, you know, they're very similar movies. Again,
it probably would have ended it up on my worst list, but I did not see it, so.
I saw it because I was curious. And here's where I'm going to piss off everyone else.
Fair.
The original's not as good as you remember either. I welcome your booze and vitriol. Space Jam is a terrible movie, and Michael Jordan can't act. Neither can LeBron James, apparently, except when he's on the basketball court. The problem is, I've seen LeBron in other stuff. He is really funny in Trainwreck. Like, he's got some really funny clips in that. Oh my God, is he phoning it in this? Also, it's really funny to see behind-the-scenes videos of people spraying hair on for him so he doesn't have as receding of a hairline, because, you know, everyone makes fun of his hair anyway.
Yeah.
Just, LeBron, just shave it. Just embrace the bald, man. Be like Jordan. Embrace the bald. So I went into it going, it can't be that bad. And I had heard about the premise, and it was different enough from the original that I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's the most blatant, just like a, hey, on HBO Max, you can watch all of these characters. Going, interesting that you only have Warner Brothers characters in attendance for this global basketball game. And again, why does Warner Brothers continue to misunderstand Iron Giant? Ready Player One. Space Jam: A New Legacy. He's just there to show up and destroy stuff. Like, that's against his character. It's just dumb. LeBron is clearly phoning it in. Like, his acting is terrible. However, I will give them props for one of the greatest cameos of the year. If I had like a Razzie Award for best cameo, it would go to Space Jam: A New Legacy, because they're losing at halftime and they're just like, we need motivational speech. We need Michael Jordan at guard, 6'6", Michael Jordan. Out comes Michael B. Jordan. And I'm going, Y'all did
Love
the
it.
thing. That's
Love
clever.
it.
That's really, really funny. And then he never shows up again in the movie. I'm going, well, you got Michael Jordan. You found a loophole. I'll give you credit for that. That's actually funny. But the rest of the movie, it's a thing that I watched, but other than the Michael B. Jordan cameo and terrifying CG buff Don Cheadle, I don't remember anything else. Like, that is nightmare fuel seeing swole Cheadle. However, that's not the worst movie I've seen this year. And I know some people are going to be like, that doesn't count because this movie is a direct-to-DVD movie. So they'd be like, well, the quality's expected to be lower. Not when the previous works of this company have actually been pretty solid. Normally, I like DC animated movies. I think they're pretty...
it is going to be here. Okay.
I thought a lot of DC animated stuff I really enjoy. I liked Superman Man of Tomorrow quite a bit. I really like Justice League Dark Apocalypse War last year. That's one of my favorite animated movies they've ever done. And I was really excited when they announced that they were doing an animated Injustice movie. And then the reviews started coming out and people were really not liking it. I'm going, wow. Maybe it's a whole bunch of people that have only read the comic and aren't kind of used to the animated movie's presentation. Because they do tend to take stories and condense them a bit. Like, Josh and I have had issues with what they did with Batman Hush. They had Long Halloween come out this year, but they had it in 2 parts, and it was definitely better. I still have some issues with Long Halloween, but it was much better. I like Injustice quite a bit, so I went into it a little trepidatious of going, all right, why is this getting so crapped on? I absolutely can understand why so many people hated it. I hated it. Because there's so much lore to Injustice that they really just throw away because they're just like, well, we don't have time. And also, there's characters that die willy-nilly, but for no real point other than just to have some blood to bump it up to that R rating. Like, this isn't a spoiler. At the beginning of the movie, just like the games, Joker kills a big chunk of the city, and Flash is trying to defuse the bomb when all of a sudden someone kills him and blood splatters everywhere. I don't think the movie even tells us who killed Flash or why they bothered killing Flash. It's just, oh, here's some blood. The voice acting is god-awful. Like, I think it's Kevin Pollak is Joker. He is probably the worst Joker I've ever heard. His Joker's awful. And then you get Justin Hartley as Superman. I never hear Superman at all. I only ever hear Justin Hartley. The actress that did Harley Quinn was really good, and that's about it. In Injustice, the story is essentially Superman accidentally kills Lois Lane and his unborn child because using it's either Joker or Scarecrow fear toxin. I think Joker steals Scarecrow's fear toxin, and he makes Superman think that Lois is Doomsday, so he more or less fights her and takes her up into space and wherever, and that kills her. There's not that brutality in this. He just kind of picks up Doomsday and flies to space. There's not this awkward fighting, which I think could have been more emotional of, holy crap, I just beat my wife to death, basically, with my unborn child still inside. The voice acting is bad. The game basically ends with a different universe's Superman fighting this evil Superman, of like the multiverse of here's the good universe and here's the evil universe. They introduced the multiverse super late into this game that they're just like, well, crap. How did it end in the game? All right, get to that point. Okay, sure, why not? It just kind of ends really abruptly. Obviously, as a Nightwing fan, I felt underserviced quite a bit because in the Injustice game, Nightwing dies. Fine, I've come to terms with that. It was a stupid decision, and it kind of makes me laugh that that guy is now currently writing Nightwing, and it's amazing. But in the comic, Damian throws a wing ding at Nightwing's head, it hits him, falls to the ground unconscious, but when he falls, his neck lands on a rock, and that snaps his neck. Here, he gets hit in the head. That's it. He doesn't hit anything on the way down. There's no rock. He doesn't break his neck. He just gets hit in the head by his own stick. I'm going, so if he throws that stick at an enemy, that just knocks him out. But when Damian jokingly throws it at his head, that is a kill shot? What? Sure.
I mean, Damian's always hated Dick, so it's, you know.
But he likes Raven.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Injustice. Normally, the animated movies are well casted vocally. The voice cast across the board was just so bad that it really made the rest of the movie suffer. And the pacing was bad. Superman just turns evil real quick. Characters die just for the sake of it. The global scale of the game and the comics isn't really there. Like, there's no real prevalent war between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians or the humans. Like, Wonder Woman is still kind of there being evil, whispering in Superman's ear, but that's not as prevalent as it is in the game. Like, they cut out so much. And even if there wasn't a comic or the game to base it off of, I still think this would have been a bad animated movie just for how much they rushed it and tried to put in as many characters as they could and under-deliver on just about all of them.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I just keep hearing the Screen Junkies guy be like, "Is this gonna be an issue in the future?" Nah, barely an inconvenience. Like, of when it comes to them, like, is introducing the multiverse too late? Is that gonna be a problem? Nah, barely an inconvenience. Like, tough stuff, dude.
So what should we tackle next? Do we want to do underrated? Then
let's do underrated, then best, and then we can just wallow in the best moments.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of really good moments.
Yeah, there have been some good individual moments this year.
Even the movies that don't make the list for like best and stuff.
Yeah, so start us off. What are some underrateds for you?
And I think I put this in the underrated because I feel like not a lot of people saw it, for obvious reasons, but the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yay!
Easily one of my favorite animated movies from this past year.
Yeah, like, this is on my underrated list too.
Oh, good. I almost put Luca on there because I really, really like Luca, but it's a Disney movie, so like everybody saw it.
Yeah.
But the Mitchells versus the Machines has several moments in it, which are like one of my favorite moments for this year, but is incredibly charming. The animation is incredibly unique. The story is not necessarily original, but like also has a lot to say and taking on the typical trope of, oh, daughter's going off to college, time for some family issues. Like, but it does that, but does it to a level that is heartwarming and actually makes sense. And like, this is how family, like my family is this way, with a lot of stuff happens that the Mitchells do. But I literally will always recommend the Mitchells versus the Machines if you can find it. I don't know where it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, Netflix. Okay. It's a Netflix exclusive. Yeah, it's also on my underrated list. I had so much fun with Mitchells versus the Machines. It justified every 2000s child's fear of Furbies. Because, as we all know, Furbies and It's a Small World will one day rule the world, whether we want to or not. They'll take over the world. Mitchells vs. the Machines also introduced me to one of my new favorite child characters, which is the son, who is just weird, and I love it. Hey, do you want to come over and talk about dinosaurs sometime? Like, he talks all dinosaurs. He is a dinosaur. He's just endearing, and the mom freaking out on the robots is great. Them adopting the robots as family is great. And then, obviously, you can see it coming a mile away, the emotional manipulation. But when you find out the dad's side of the story of, without saying too much because we do want people to see this, what he gave up type of situation, you're just going, oh, this almost feels like old school Pixar, not current Pixar.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't say manipulation is hard, because like every movie's gonna do that, but it's such a negative word. But because this movie does a good job of hiding its intentions and hiding its lore, so to speak, that it does. You get bits and pieces, but then by the reveal, it really does hit hard, and it puts a lot of things in perspective. And it's just, gosh, it's such a great movie.
So, I'll do one Nicolas Cage movie now because I have two underrated Nicolas Cage movies. Pig is really good, and I'm glad to see some awards considerations being given for Nicolas Cage in this. So the premise is going to sound really dumb. But Nicolas Cage is a man that lives out in the woods that has a truffle pig that basically helps him find truffles, and he lives by himself. Then one day his pig gets stolen, and he goes on this mission to go get it back. But it's not like a John Wick where it's a revenge mission. It's basically a character working through grief and sadness and isolation as he's already distanced himself from the world, of just like uncomfortably, forcibly asserting himself back into the world to try and find basically his one and only friend out there. And whatever you think of Nicolas Cage's performances, it's not this. This is quiet. It's subdued. Also, as much as I love like the Suicide Squad or Zack Snyder's Justice League or even Shang-Chi's soundtracks, I think Pig actually has my favorite soundtrack of the year. I've been re-listening.
Really? Okay.
I've been re-listening to that a lot the past few days. It reminds me a lot of Moneyball's soundtrack, of very much an ambient background chill comfort music, but that works so well for this movie. Like, I really love Pig's music, which, quick peek behind the curtain, I'm deep in production on the end of the year movie montage. I'm bringing that back because it was off last year because we didn't have nearly enough movies to do a montage. But I'm working on the 2021 movie montage, and I'm using some Pig music. That sounds weird. I'm using some Pig music because the soundtrack is just so good. And Josh is going to be watching it soon. Either that or my other underrated movie, Willy's Wonderland, a complete 180. Pig is a thought-provoking think piece, an emotional roller coaster. Willy's Wonderland is Nicolas Cage as a silent man that beats the crap out of animatronics. I love it so much. He curb stomps an animatronic into a toilet, and I love it. It's so dumb. It's so fun. And when I say Nicolas Cage doesn't speak the entire movie, he does not speak the entire movie. I was expecting at the end for him to just be like, huh, okay, or say something. Not a single word is spoken by him. That's
crazy.
But you understand everything about his character. He's just tired of it. It's goofy, ridiculous fun. He carries it on his shoulders because there's some other actors in it that are really not that great. The teen actors kind of remind me of like Vine stars, basically. Like, they're not the most talented out there. But it's dumb fun. I can have a lot of fun with Willy's Wonderland. I bought it on Blu-ray because I had so much fun with it. I'll be rewatching it. It's the Five Nights at Freddy movie we've all been not really needing, and it'll come eventually. But this was fun in every sense of the word. Also, it kind of implies that sodas are his superpower, and I kind of love it.
That makes sense. Makes complete sense. My only other underrated is my new favorite Karen Gillan movie with Gunpowder Milkshake. I know you. I don't remember you liking it all that much.
I'm good.
I enjoyed the crap out of it.
How much of that is because it's Karen Gillan and Carla Gugino?
Probably a lot. They're just like, that's the thing. Is like the movie itself, it's very paint by numbers action movie, but like Karen is entertaining, like, and everybody that the whole female cast is incredibly, the kids super funny. It's a great movie, and it's something that everybody should check out at least once. I don't know. Don't write it off. It's not bad. It's not bad like Mortal Kombat. It's not bad like Black Widow. At least the story makes sense.
Okay. Wow. Then again, I'm not really gonna fight you on the Black Widow thing.
Yeah,
it's not horrible, but not good either.
Yeah, that's like, and I think that if we had a list for movies that were
most forgettable,
I had a lot of hope for Black Widow, and
I never
really
did.
Disappointed. And I just like, if this is going to be your last attempt at giving us a moment with this character, now that you killed her off, which is a little odd, that timing, at least make it good. I don't know, man. Whatever. It's just a glorified attempt to give us a Yelena introduction, and that's all it is. That's all it is.
I ain't complaining about that, though.
I'm not complaining about it, but like the slight to Scarlett Johansson's character is pretty sad to me.
Well, that wasn't the biggest slight against Scarlett Johansson in 2021, but we've
Well,
already
yeah, true.
we've already been down that road. My last underrated movie is one I don't think Josh has seen. I don't think a lot of people have seen this one, except for diehards in the horror community, and y'all really should just for the name alone. PG, Psycho Goreman.
Oh, I've seen the poster for this.
So, for those that aren't familiar, Psycho Goreman features two kids that accidentally discover an evil alien tyrant from another world and basically find a way to control him, kind of like Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal or any like wish fulfillment kid movie, except he's absolutely evil. Like, he has slaughtered thousands of worlds, and he keeps telling them, if I ever get free, I will slaughter you and your entire family. And you believe it. He's evil. But it is so much dumb, gory fun. It is ridiculously stupid, but it has so much fun with it. It's also got some really, really funny humor. There's a part where they need a ride somewhere because they're kids and they can't drive anywhere. So they tell Psycho Goreman to deliver a message to their dad, and the dad is sitting on the throne, and all of a sudden this disembodied giant alien head pops in front of him while he's on the toilet. Come to this location and pick up your children. And he's like, oh my God! While he's pooping. And so the head disappears. He's just like, what was that? The head pops back up. Hurry up, they need you. And like it keeps popping up and scaring the crap out of him. And then like it's hyper violent. Like all the effects and all the budget clearly went to the gore and the costumes, because the costumes are both impressive and cheap looking at the same time. It's kind of dumb, but I thought it was really, really funny. I liked the aesthetic of the Goreman himself. It is so bizarrely weird. Like at one point, one of their friends gets turned essentially into... He gets turned inside out. Just think of that visual. And he's still alive. And so...
Oh, that's terrifying.
And so after a while, he just has to live the rest of his life like that. And so he goes back home and is in his new form. He's just like, am I going to be like this forever? And his parents are just like, well, I guess so. Okay. Like, they just kind of roll with it. It's just twisted. Or there's another part where he possesses the body of one of the cops, and the cop like becomes this weird zombie that can't die. And so he uses like blood on a sign and basically it says, kill me. And the girl's just like, nope, you're our friend now. Like, it's so twisted and wrong. Like, Josh, you need to see this movie. It's just not okay, but it's also fun and stupid at the same time. Like, if you know going into it that you're kind of watching a Kung Fury level of stupid, you can have fun with it. It's just
fair enough.
Insane.
Fair enough. God, and that's a movie. Kung Fury is a movie I watched like several times this year, which is so weird.
Shocker.
You know what? I don't need you attacking me like that. Okay, jeez.
We all got our chicken soup movies.
We do. We absolutely do. And
mine's Prisoners.
Kung Fury lasts about as long as it takes.
I'm just kidding. Prisoners is like a once every 5 years movie.
Yeah, I was like, dude, all right, I'm gonna let you live in that one.
I love the boy in the striped pajamas.
No, thank you. I'm good. I don't feel like crying while I eat my soup. See, that's why Kung Fury is the perfect chicken noodle soup movie, because it's about as long as it's about as long as it takes to eat a bowl of soup. Got him.
Best movies of the year. I have
Best
4.
movies of the year. I have 4 as well. Okay, well.
Oh, cool. I hope they're different. Well, I know at least one of them will be different because you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh,
is
fair
one of
enough.
The best movies of the year. Josh and I have made no secret. We don't particularly care for the original, and it's kind of gross. Bill Murray is very pervy, like real creepy, and the Dan Aykroyd ghost thing. I'm going, kids watch this? Like, I don't particularly care for the original Ghostbusters at all. But I was excited for this new one because I like the trailers. I got a very Power Rangers 2017 vibe of what if these cartoonish
Rest in
characters
peace.
had personalities and feelings and human emotions. And that's what we get for this. I know some people are just like, we don't get until the actual ghost busting until 45 minutes of the movie. I'm going, good. We care about the characters then. Like, I like all the human characters in this. Paul Rudd essentially is just Paul Rudd, but McKenna Grace is awesome because McKenna Grace is one of the best child actors working today. She's phenomenal. But there's a character named Podcast that should have been in more of the trailers because this kid is freaking hysterical. Also, it's not a spoiler, but McKenna Grace's character is socially awkward, so she tells jokes to try and break the ice. Josh, do you want to hear the greatest joke of all time?
Absolutely. I mean, I have an opinion about that, but yeah.
How is a gerbil like a cigarette?
Don't know. How?
They're not dangerous when you put them in your mouth until you light it on fire.
All right, cool. Bet. Right, sounds good. All right, fun.
And I'm just like, holy crap, you put that in a kid's movie. And then lets the awkward silence just stew in the movie so you can enjoy the movie. Or, hey, what do you call a blind polar bear? No, what do you call a dead polar bear? Anything you want, he can't hear you anymore.
Oh, gosh. See, that is like the vibe of like slumber parties.
I'm still laughing at how dark that joke is.
Staying up to like 1 a.m. telling terrible dark jokes, and that's up my alley. I need to see it. I mean, I already wanted to see it, but yeah.
But yeah, I care about the characters. They rely on the original movie just enough. Like, if you haven't seen the original, you will not be lost. But I think you'll be rewarded if you've seen the original. That's the weird thing is I've seen diehard Ghostbuster fans not like this movie because it might contradict some of their canon or what happens later on. I'm just like, is it still a good movie? Yeah. I know some people have some issues with the ending, and I can understand why. But I actually liked how they handled the ending. I thought it was really well done. If you do see it, there's 2 end credits. I did not know that the first time I saw it, and I was like, oh, I would have liked to have seen that the first time around, because you and I have joked before about how a certain character in the original kind of just gets the shaft in terms of screen time. That character gets some vindication in this movie.
Good.
That's a really nice moment. The characters are wonderful. The humor is fantastic. The action's great. Like the scene that we see in the trailers where they're chasing after a ghost in the car and they have the little remote control car. That's so much fun. It's such a good movie. And I do get that Power Rangers 2017 vibe of what if we just give people personalities and character? Yeah, McKenna Grace is great. She's going to be a huge star one day. I think you'll really, really dig Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I have no doubt. I think at this point I have to wait and for it to come to some streaming app or whatever. I'm not sure.
It's Sony, so I don't even know where that would go.
Netflix? I don't know. It feels like a Netflix movie anyway.
Yeah, but a good one.
Let's talk about Godzilla vs. Kong, which was exactly what it needed to be. Absolutely the big, hard-hitting monster movie that actually made us care about the monsters themselves.
Well, one of them.
Well, I mean,
you're not supposed to care about Godzilla.
No, you're not. As far as like having a deep emotional connection.
Yeah, that's the point.
Because, by gosh, if you're not on Team Kong's, like on Kong's team by the time you get into the final fight, like you are a heartless person. Because God, this is just. I think that was the thing about this movie. It has a surprising amount of heart. And I think the thing in the past that has been the Godzilla movie downfalls is that in the human characters are great in this film too. I think.
What? You didn't think Aaron Taylor Johnson was interesting in Godzilla 2014?
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be interesting in Legend London.
What?
Anyway, yeah. Apparently, there's a I Am Legend London movie coming, which is cool. Anyway, not the point. Yeah, roll your eyes harder. Do it. Roll your eyes harder. Harder.
I hate Aaron Taylor Johnson so much. Yes. He's so bland. Like,
It's just so odd. He's so interesting in Kick-Ass, but like in anything
that could
else,
be Matthew Vaughn working miracles, though.
yeah, that's fair. But Godzilla vs Kong is fantastic, and even though you can kind of see it coming, the when Mecha finally shows up, um, fantastic, great fight, great. I just there's that fight at nighttime at Tokyo is so good
Oh, you
and
mean the
so
Pacific Rim fight?
yeah, but like if it was emotionally fulfilling. Anyway,
I still like the Pacific Rim one better. I think the choreography is better.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but you know, this movie is still to me one of the best movies of the year. Not the best, but up there.
Yeah, I'll be curious if we agree on the best. I think it's a two-horse race for us of which one is
Yes.
the best. And I have one that I like better than the other, and I think it might be flipped for you. I'll be curious if this is on yours or not. It's the one that again, just like how I will talk about the things that I predicted wrong, I'll talk about the times that I will admit that I was wrong about something. One of the best movies of the year, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Interesting. Okay.
Except for the end credits. Screw that. Like,
Yeah, screw that in credits.
that doesn't exist. I have said numerous times, I like the 2017 Justice League. Yes, there's some wonky CG, and Batman acts very much out of character, but there's still enough of that that I don't think is the train wreck that people make it out to be. Plus, I still maintain that I like the Superman in that version better than this, minus the weird mouth. I know that's CG, but how Henry Cavill's portrayed in that Superman I like a lot better. Zack Snyder's Justice League clearly felt like what his DC movies should have been. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is his best movie he's ever made. I like it better than Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It's not hard to be better than Batman vs. Superman. I detest that movie. I think it's better than Watchmen, which probably was my favorite Zack Snyder movie before. I thought a 4-hour runtime would be excessive, and I still kind of think it is, but everything flowed and paced together really well for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Sure, there's some weird stuff, like, I'll never not make fun of the hot dog scene. Like, is this intentionally subtle message of something else? Like, I thought it was paced well. The only real issues that I have is I still kind of have issues with how he portrays Superman. I think it's weird that good guy Superman is wearing the black and the gray, and then evil Superman at the end is wearing the red and the blue. But my big issue is stop playing the annoying choral music when Wonder Woman does literally anything. No, not that one. It's the Amazonian singing choir in the background.
Oh, yeah,
Wonder Woman
yeah,
takes a
yeah.
massive poop in the middle of the woods. Ah! Like, I don't stop it. They got a little excessive with this. But Flash, I thought, I'm still on the fence about Ezra Miller's Flash. I thought Flash was significantly improved. I like Jason Momoa's Aquaman in the theatrical version. I thought he's even better this time around. Yeah. I thought Ray Fisher was a significant improvement as Cyborg. I don't mind Danny Elfman's score for the movie, for the original theatrical cut. It's okay. But Junkie XL's score for Zack Snyder's Justice League is so good. Like, that music
Junkie
is
XL
amazing.
is just always a win.
As a whole, I was very much surprised by the movie. I haven't gone back and rewatched it a ton since, just because it's a 4-hour block of time that I would need to dedicate. But there are absolutely certain scenes. There are absolutely certain scenes that I've gone back and rewatched that we'll be talking about later. But I will own up when I'm wrong about something. And I was wrong about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Do I want that universe to continue? Oh, hell no. I thought this was a good send-off for his trilogy. Let's leave it there. We don't need more. Zack Snyder, stick to Netflix.
Really, it's a 3.5-hour movie because the last 30 minutes is that stupid nightmare.
We don't talk about that. That Amber Heard, for some reason, has a British accent.
There's so much about that last 30 minutes. This does not need to happen. One of my favorite, and getting to the 2-horse race before, to me, Dune is up there with one of the best movies of the year.
Wow.
Absolutely. You know me, you know I love my weird sci-fi. But that's definitely here, but everybody is acting-wise on their top game in this movie. The special effects are absolutely mind blowing. Um, when the ships are exploding and they're exploding inside their shields first, and then they kind of bubble out. Oh, that is so cool! The visuals of when the giant sandworms actually come, so cool. There's just so much I love about. I mean, knowing that Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies of all time, like shouldn't surprise you that much that I love Dune as much as I did.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because Dune didn't hit as much with me. I
That's
kind of
fair.
forgot about it. So yeah, we both should have 2 left,
Yeah.
right? And I'll be very curious. I think one of us has one higher than the other, and the other one it's flipped.
I think I already know. I think I already know what they are.
So, what's your runner-up, Josh?
Suicide Squad, obviously.
I knew it was gonna be flipped. I knew it.
Because obviously Shang-Chi is my favorite movie of the entire year.
I knew that was going to be the case. I knew it.
I mean, and that's not a knock on Suicide Squad at all, because like it's a really good, far better than I think any of us expected it to be. We kind of we're like, yeah, the trailers look good, the costuming looks good.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man. James Gunn is directing, so
and Josh has to eat his words for doubting how great Polka Dot Man was.
You're not wrong. But like it's just, and even like going as far to like one of the many characters that I hate in the first Suicide Squad movie with Rick Flag, and like literally by the end of this film, he's one of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's just God, dude, so cool, and I can't wait for the Peacemaker show because of this movie. Like this Suicide Squad is so good, but I just like me some kung fu, man. Like, golly, like Shang-Chi is so stinking.
You're Americanizing it.
I've been saying it one way for so long, my brain won't let me. But dude, so good. Even if the ending is a little
Marvel.
I don't want to use the word weak. Yeah, Marvel-ish is the only thing I can think to describe it. But like from the bus fight to the dynamic between Awkwafina and oh geez, I always forget his name and I feel really bad. The guy that plays Sean.
Simu Liu.
Yes, their dynamic, their chemistry is fantastic. The way they actually show what an Asian American family, how they would interact with people,
it's
fantastic.
Beautiful.
Actually showing us a Asian style dragon on screen was like this. Like that's something I never thought I'd see in an American cinema. Like, you know, as someone who watches a lot of like foreign kung fu films, like you see that kind of stuff all the time.
You get a dog with 2 butts and no head.
It's so good. And like bringing
Morris
Trevor
is the
back,
best.
Dude, Horace is the best. Having Trevor
Morris.
back.
Not Horace.
Trevor was so good. And like it was so smart bringing him back in that way. It's easily one of the best. Like if you don't think, I know what you think about it, but like I don't think I saw anyone be like, nah, I don't know why everybody likes this movie. It's not good. Like it's almost impossible to not like Shang-Chi. Like, God, dude.
My only issue is I think that final act could have been stronger because it does feel a little. It is very tonally different. Of, hey, let's go from hand-to-hand combat to riding mother-frickin' dragons, which are fine. But I love Shang-Chi. It is really just barely my second place, just because of how much I enjoyed the one that I'll talk about here in a little bit. But
excuse me,
watching Shang-Chi, I immediately knew, oh, Simu Liu is going to be one of my favorite Marvel characters going forward. And I was talking to one of my coworkers about this. Of just like, why is that? And it's this humility that he brings to the table that the rest of the Avengers don't. Of how he respects Awkwafina's elders, how he interacts with people. Of just like, okay, I don't know something. I want to learn. I want to improve. He's the blue collar Avenger now. Like he's the average guy. Also, maybe it's just the small touches. I appreciate that he always has his Jordans on. Even in the final fight, he still keeps his kicks on him going, you got your superhero costume and your Jordans. Good plan. I love it so much. I need a GIF of that. My favorite moment in the entire movie, it's always the little touches, like a good Jackie Chan movie, is when he does the punch that wraps his jacket around him, and then he does the wax on, wax off. No, paint the wax on, wax off, bringing the jacket back around to fit it how it normally is. I'm going, I need that on an endless loop GIF, because the fluidity of that mixed when he's swinging on the bars to get to the front seat of the bus is just... Oh, chef's kiss. God, I love that choreography so much. It feels so Jackie Chan, though.
Dude, and the fight on the side of the building, so cool. That long one take of the fight, it towards the end of that scene, like, oh my, there's just so much about Shang-Chi that is, I mean, it's everything that I personally love in a movie. So it's like, it's that, I don't think it was that big of a surprise that this is like my number one, but you know, whatever.
And obviously my number one is The Suicide Squad. Yeah, I had high expectations for this, and I didn't think there's any way that it was going to surpass it, because I'm still disappointed with the Guardians 2. I think James Gunn turned the Guardians into idiots, so I didn't really know what to expect with The Suicide Squad, especially coming off of the Suicide Squad from 2016, which I don't hate nearly as much as other people. I don't think it's that bad. But I don't particularly enjoy it either. So I went into this with a lot of trepidation. And this is one of the first comic book movies in a long time that, at least to me, is not ashamed and is actually proud to be a comic book movie. Whether it is probably one of my favorite scene transitions of all time. It's just any time that they do Meanwhile in Jotunheim, like in the little pipes in the ground, or Operation Rescue Harley with the flames in the sky, or Operation whatever first, and like the scene transitions, or how every main character has an arc that's interwoven, even if it's a character as seemingly dumb as Nanaue with King Shark. He just wants friends. That's it. You immediately get on board with that. He's an outcast. Polka Dot Man, basically wanting to be a hero. Harley Quinn finally stepping out as an individual. You got Bloodsport finally accepting the role as a hero. Ratcatcher getting over her mono, basically, because she's always tired. That's Honest Trailer's joke, though. It's true, though. She is always tired. It's not a millennial thing. I think that's you have mono. Also, very few scenes this year got to me emotionally as much as, why rats, Dad? Because rats are the lowliest creature in the universe. If they have a purpose, so must we all. I'm going, this is in the same movie with John Cena and his tidy whities and a giant shark man and a polka dot man. Like, this shouldn't work. Also, like, the scene where Peacemaker and Bloodsport are seeing how many men in the camp they can kill just as an alpha male dick swinging competition. But in reality, that's a scene perfectly laying the groundwork for their future feud. I'm just going, holy crap, even the throwaway jokes here are to further character dynamic. Like, when Bloodsport crashes through and he's staring daggers through Peacemaker, I'm going, holy crap, you've set up this hero-villain dynamic from the get-go, but we never caught on to it. Like, that's a perfect reveal. Yeah. And you get me to care about Rick Flag, which I did not give two craps about at the beginning of the movie. You made me cry from laughing so hard at the very beginning of, did anybody check to see if the weasel could swim? Like, oh my God. I almost died from that alone. I laughed. I felt something in my heart with various scenes. I felt for characters. Even if it's the simple moments of, like, they're driving to a mission and you see King Shark looking out the window and he sees a couple kissing. And in that moment, you understand the feelings of a shark man because of the phenomenal cinematography and the music. It's unashamedly a comic book movie. You have people fighting a gigantic telepathic starfish. And it's beautiful. You have a polka dot man who's fighting the manifestation of his mom, but it still works and has an emotional center to it. You killed a guy named... Oh, what was his name? It's actually ironic that I forgot his name. Milton! They killed Milton! Who was Milton again? Oh,
he's
that
been with
guy!
us the whole time!
And it's funny because you as an audience member forgot who Milton was. It's great. The Suicide Squad is one of those comic book movies that doesn't come around very often because I wish comic book movies embraced and respected their material more. I felt the same way with Aquaman of, yeah, we're cheesy fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. I felt like I was flipping through a comic book, and I also appreciate that the end credits gave thanks to a whole bunch of comic writers and artists over the years. I'm going, every comic book movie should do this because without comic books, you don't have the movies. I just love the Suicide Squad so much. It's far surpassed my expectations. Great music. I will listen to Ratism a ton, which is the music when all the rats come into play, which if he told me thousands of rats will consume a Starman and it will be beautiful, I never would have believed it. But just say James Gunn and I'm going, okay, sure, why not? I just far surpassed my expectations, and it has so much more heart than it has any right to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's Suicide Squad. It's really close, I think, for both of us when it comes to Shang-Chi and Suicide Squad. They're just so good. And they both, I think...
I enjoy them both differently.
Yeah, and I think we were both caught off guard by them. I don't know if we went into either like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great movie. It was more so, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see how they handle this. So it's just, I think part of it too is they were such pleasant surprises when it comes to films this year. Do you want to wrap up some of our favorite moments?
Yes, and obviously we'll put spoiler alerts. We'll say the movies that it's from first. That way, if you still haven't seen this movie and you care, you can dip away. I'll do the one that's actually, ironically, from one of my worst movies of the year, but at the moment was still funny because of who's in it. Coming to America. For those that care about this movie, at the end they've finally have like the big royal wedding or whatever else. And there's a random Dikembe Mutombo cameo. And I'm going, they're like, oh, sorry, Dikembe. It's okay. And it's actually Dikembe Mutombo. I'm like, hey, it's one of my favorite basketball players. Because, guys, Dikembe Mutombo is one of my favorite basketball players. Because in junior high and high school, like the only thing athletically that I could do was block shots. I can't shoot to save my life. I can't dribble because I'm awkward. But you want someone to swat a ball away like it's a fly? Call somebody else. I'll just foul really hard. But I like Dikembe Mutombo. I like Yao Ming. I like Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm sensing a trend there. But I was like, hey,
tall people.
Dikembe. This movie still sucks, but Dikembe Mutombo. I like Dikembe. This movie made me smile at least once.
Yeah. Well, with Black Widow, when Yelena's giving her a hard time for her poses, and she's like, "You're a poser. You're a poser." And I was like, I hate a lot about this movie, but this is just the best. And it makes you like. And then when Yelena's like, I like this vest. It's got all these pockets. There's such a usable vest. It's just such a good moment and something I think. I mean, it's obvious by all the memes that have come out of it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. You got to have the moment where King Kong and Godzilla finally decide to work together.
Yep, I just have in my notes Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, so cool. And then I only say this because this is in the Cinema Wins video about Kong versus Godzilla. It's so nice of Godzilla to, after absolutely manhandling Kong, to allow him to have the kill shot on Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, see, in wrestling terminology, that's how you book yourself out of a corner and make both guys look strong. Okay, I'll take the pin, but I want to make sure I go over still somehow. I still want to get my heat back, so to speak.
Yeah. we going to talk about the Suicide Squad when well, I guess there's a lot of moments, but whenever Polka Dot Man sees his mom,
which is several times actually, which I
yes,
appreciate.
I think the last one's my favorite.
I don't have a specific moment from the Suicide Squad except for maybe again, why Rat's dad, because I just love all of the Suicide Squad. There's so many moments, whether it was Peacemaker and Bloodsport killing everyone in really, really ridiculously funny fashions, or
and
Weasel
then finding out that finding out the people they just murdered are actually the people that they
the
were
good
supposed
guys,
to be helping.
or Weasel drowning because no one could figure out if he could swim, or Savant, like the most badass hardcore guy, squealing like a little girl and dog paddling away from from the fight, or Nathan Fillion pretending to writhe on the ocean, on the beach, writhing in pain because his arms are getting shot, but his arms are like 50 feet away from him. So just seeing a grown man roll on the floor in agony is great. Or it's just so much about Suicide Squad that just makes me laugh and make me feel things emotionally. Obviously, we have to talk about the best thing about Shang-Chi, the entire bus fight. It's
absolutely.
Oh god, the choreography in that is so good. Just all of it, from my favorite part with the jacket flip, because it's such a Jackie Chan move. Just the little details are right. If again, for hand-to-hand combat and fights like that, you've got to nail the little moments. That's what people remember the most. And I think Shang-Chi absolutely nailed that. And I want that jacket. That jacket is fresh.
Absolutely. When the mom in Mitchell versus the Machines goes full like crazy samurai lady. Oh, so cool. So cool. Shout out to I gotta get this in. I have to get this in. In Demon Slayer Mugen Train, which is an anime movie that came out this year that's so good. There's when you first see what Rengoku can do, music is fantastic. I can send you the music from the scene. It is like most anime music that I send you is an absolute banger. So the movie that this moment takes place in is very in Snake Eyes, when they reveal the origin of Storm Shadow's name, is like, oh, so when he's like, what's wrong? You look like you got that look on your face. What look? You know, that look that you always get when things get bad. What look are you talking about? Like the shadow before a storm. And I was like,
Peter Griffin. They said the name. They said the name.
They said it. And to the point where they ask him at the end of the movie what they want his call sign to be, and he's like Storm Shadow. It's like, granted, I've always liked Storm Shadow better than Snake Eyes, but
I have not seen it, but from everything I've heard, Storm Shadow is the better character in the movie than actual Snake Eyes. So I got 3 more. How many more you got?
Dude, I can keep. I got a whole list I can pull from. So
good. Go for it.
Yeah, do your thing, man. Go ahead and hit me with a couple, and then
I'll go one more, and then you do a couple more. I'll save my one for last that you and I both were involved in. One that I didn't expect to enjoy as much, and I think a big part of why I enjoy it so much is the music is so good during this part. It's probably the best music in the entire movie. And that is Zack Snyder's Justice League when the Flash reverses time.
Oh, dude.
Yes. And he's, so with every step, creating the universe. Like, there's nothing in front of him. I'm going, okay. Storytelling-wise, I think this is kind of cheap that this is being implemented now as kind of a Deus Ex Machina here. But the visual way that Zack Snyder presented time travel with the Flash was brilliant. Yes. There's literally nothing in front of Flash, just empty space. And with every step he takes, it's like a little big bang going off, and the ground underneath him is being rebuilt. Granted, his run is still stupid. Stupid. But the music is so good. I still listen to that on a loop a ton. And the scene is so well done, even if it's... it's not earned at all. Like,
No.
like there's
Not
been
at
no
all.
hints at all that he can time travel. Like, he can clearly freeze time because he's so fast, but like, I think it's just there because Zack Snyder wanted to do it and he didn't know how many more of these movies he was gonna do. Like, it really doesn't actually belong in the movie. That being said, it's probably the best thing about Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's such a cool moment. It's cool for the sake of cool, which is Zack Snyder in a nutshell. But seeing Cyborg's face get reassembled after it clearly had been blown up, or just seeing everything come together with each step, and the music is powerful. Just remember, Dad, I was one of them. In case this doesn't work out, remember I was one of the good guys. Or create your own future, create your own past. I'm like, oh, this is so good. And I still don't care about Ezra Miller's Flash. It's the best moment of that entire movie, and it's so well done. It's so cool.
It's super well done. Absolutely. Speaking about things that are well done, in Halloween Kills, how about that opening 10 minutes?
No, we will not talk about that.
Why not?
We're saving that.
Oh, okay, my bad.
We'll save that for last because it's the only moment
not
that
one.
Karen dies and we all rejoiced.
Yeah. That.
No, actually, I kind of have a lot of issues with how Karen died. I'm not gonna lie, because it just felt kind of tacked on. No, we'll talk about Halloween last because it's the only moment you and I actually saw together.
That's okay. That's fair.
That's a unifying thing. We can talk about our experience with that a little bit too.
What about in Dune when he just narrowly escapes that second sandworm and it is up and like staring at him and then like turns and goes? I was like, ooh, that's chilling and kind of scary. And like the way that they acknowledge about like, okay, how would a giant creature like that get through the sand? Like, well, you vibrate it and you can just like that's how that works. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Science, you know me. I love the science stuff.
See, that's not my favorite moment from Dune. And I think it's
Really?
probably because of the actor. And I always love last stands in movies. Seeing Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho go, puts the sword to his head, get yourself some time, and just goes out like a freaking boss. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Jason Momoa, I think, was my favorite part of Dune, and Duncan Idaho was amazing. But the way he goes out, I'm just going, that's a Faramir type of way to go out. No,
yeah.
Boromir, not Faramir. Faramir survives because he's a winner.
Yeah, he has a hot date. But I also love the line from Oscar Isaac's character when he's like, when Timothy Chalamet's like, well, what if I don't want to be king? What if I do fail in that way? And he's like, then you'll be the only thing I ever wanted you to be, my son. I was like, yes, let's go. Absolutely.
Have you seen the Spider-Man memes of that they're just like, well, what if Tobey and Andrew don't show up? What if this and what if that? Then you'll be the only thing I ever needed you to be. A good Spider-Man movie. And I'm going,
yeah.
Remember this meme just in case on the off chance they're not in it and you're all are pissed.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a rabbit hole we can go down hardcore. Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff in Dune, and I just visually even like the whole concept of the shields is so cool. I love like the visualization of it, the idea, even just the idea that like fast things don't penetrate it, but like if you go slow, you can get through. And it's like, oh, dude, that's so cool. It just like when Oscar Isaac's character gets shot by the dart, and he has to like, I can't get to it. Like, so good. I love Dune so much.
How many more you got?
I can come up with another one.
Go for it, man.
One more outside of Halloween Kills.
Because I got, including Halloween Kills, I got one more. No,
okay.
No, Halloween Kills and one additional one.
Okay. Crap. Now I'm actually gonna come up with one. Hit me with your one more, and then I'll.
So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put up a big spoiler alert. For Josh, because I don't think he's seen this movie yet. But spoiler alert for the people that have not seen Free Guy yet and want to.
Oh, yeah, I'm one of those people.
Do you see? It's not story related, but it's still a fun moment.
Here's the thing. I don't care about spoilers when I've had a significant amount of time to watch it. I just haven't.
And again, this is a moment that's better if you're in a theater to experience it, because my theater freaked the crap out for this. So at the end of the movie, the evil Taika Waititi has sent in Dude, who is the contrasted guy, and that Dude is like a gigantic swole version of Ryan Reynolds' guy, except in typical, like, quote-unquote EA fashion, he's not done yet, so he's broken. So he's just like, there's 3 things I love: kicking ass, TBD, third thing here. Like, he's so stupidly broken. Like, doesn't have a shirt because it's not been programmed yet. And so Ryan Reynolds, free guy, is just getting his butt kicked by him. And he's got the special glasses that let him see the world around him, but those get knocked away from him. And so, Dude comes in, jacks up one of his arms. He's going in for the death blow, and everyone's around the world is watching. Mom, he's going in for the death blow. And Guy finally gets his glasses back. He's got no weapons left in his inventory. Shield. Puts up a shield. Dun, 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 dun. Camera whips around. It's Captain America's shield. And then quick cut to Chris Evans in a cafe. What the crap? I've
seen that particular scene.
You did not. And so then, he lowers the shield. He's got a gigantic Hulk hand, and he punches Dude into the next block over, into the next like wharf type of building. So he's used Captain America's shield. He uses Hulk's hand. So then Dude comes at him one more time to do this square off. Reaches in. Dun, 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 pulls out a lightsaber, and I'm going, how did you get any of this approved by Disney? Holy crap! And so when the Avengers music hits, everyone in my theater is just going, holy crap! Legally, how did you do that? That's awesome! And then you get Captain America's cameo in there. It was one of those great, people celebrating in a theater again. I'm sure I'm going to have that later this week with Spider-Man No Way Home. But it was one of those movies that you weren't expecting to have one of those type of moments. As a whole, Free Guy's a lot of fun. It's not my favorite movie of the year. It's got some issues, but I had a lot of fun with it. There's a random Channing Tatum cameo, which is ridiculously funny. Looks dead at the camera throughout the scene. It's really, really funny. But a Chris Evans cameo, a Captain America shield moment with the music cue, Hulk's hand. There's a weapon from Fortnite, but I'm going, whatever. He uses the portal gun at one point.
Nice.
I'm just going, how? How did you... It's like Ready Player One, except with a coherent story and more clear storytelling.
Ooh. Nice. Yeah.
You'll like Free Guy, but especially that moment.
I have no doubt I will. And that's partially one of the reasons I'm not rushing to go see it. Is I know I'm going to enjoy the crap out of it.
That was a theater moment though, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt. Kind of pulling for straws here, but I really like the moment in Luca when he discovers when they're out of water they become humans, and it's just visually it's a beautiful moment, and for him as a character is oh wow, I can survive outside of water, I can push this boundary a little bit more. It's just that I like Luca a lot. It's not I don't top Pixar quality, but it's a good time. And there's a lot of visually stuff in Luca that I really, really enjoy. The race when the rain starts hitting, so it's just really cool stuff. All right, we talking.
Yep,
we're diving in.
Yeah, I got no other
scenes.
Do this. So, yeah, I saved this one for last because it's the only movie moment that Josh and I got to share together. Because as part of Josh's trip down for Horror Nights, we got to do Horror Nights the first day. Then we just hung out in Orlando, went to comic book stores. Then we saw Halloween Kills. Definitely not on my list of favorite movies of the year. It has problems. It's mid-tier Halloween. It's by no means the worst. There's been some horrible Halloween movies, like Halloween Resurrection. I don't mean that. I just see Josh riled up.
That hurts.
No, the worst is still Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That's train wreck. But Halloween Kills, has probably some Halloween moments that make me the happiest, which sound horrible for a violent slasher movie. But the beginning of Halloween Kills is so rewarding as a Halloween fan. So, spoiler alert for Halloween Kills for the people that haven't seen it and care. They set the beginning of the movie right where the original movie ends. Of Michael has escaped the house and is now in the loose in 1978, and some of the cops are looking for him. Aesthetically, it looks exactly like either John Carpenter's original Halloween or even Halloween 2. The cinematography looks exactly the same. The costumes look exactly the same. Michael Myers' mask is so hard to replicate. No movie, even Halloween 2, which supposedly used the same mask, but I don't believe it. Even Halloween 2's mask looks slightly different. They've never been able to replicate the original mask quite to the extent that the original one did. This has gotten as close as we've ever seen it. That, looking at it, I'm going, that's the original 1978 Michael Myers. And then we get the Myers house. We get this great stalking scene within the Myers house. And I think it was Heather that pointed it out to us after we saw the movie, because she saw it with us. She's like, so when Michael kills that cop, was that the first time we've ever seen him run? And we like stopped and looked and we're like,
yeah.
Wait a second. Yeah, that's the first time we've ever seen him lunge. But it still makes sense in that movie because he's just trying to cover a short distance. I loved that. I just love being back in the world of that original 78 because the original one means so much to me. The music fit. And then they did the impossible. They brought back Dr. Loomis, and it looked hella good.
Really good.
Like the actor that played Loomis passed away, I believe, in 96. It was during the filming of Halloween 6, I believe. Well, I know that, but Donald Pleasance passed away many, many, many years ago. And they basically just use a voice for Halloween 2018. I still maintain that that voice was terrible. It was a bad imitation of Dr. Loomis. So I was worried when I saw reports and heard rumors that they'd be using Dr. Loomis in Halloween Kills. I'm going, I don't know. I remember Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia in Rogue One. I don't really want a situation of that. They were so confident in how their Dr. Loomis looked. They did a wide shot. They did a close-up. They done all the shot coverage. But even in the close-up, I'm going, that's Dr. Loomis. There's no denying that. That's Dr. Loomis. And to be able to replicate the original Halloween as closely as they did, it kind of actually made me sad that we left it. Because I'm just like, just remake Halloween 2. I don't care that Laurie and Michael are brother and sister again. Just do it again. This feels more like the continuation of Halloween than the actual Halloween 2 in 1981. Like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I remember when the movie started and you and I, both of our jaws were like on the floor right away. And as problematic as a lot of the stuff in the movie is, like, it just...
Big John, Little John!
Best scene in the whole movie, like, without a doubt, is just everything with Big John, Little John. It's
Big John, Little John.
So good.
Also, like, I need someone to make a meme of when Michael kills, I think it's Little John. The armpit? Really? Who stabs a man in the armpit?
Rude. That's so rude. Like, gosh. And like this
and
is
they did a nice job with his house too. Like that house looked
they
nice.
Really did. Like, he can't be mad, bro. Like
I'm not even much of an interior design guy, but seeing what Big John and Little John did to the Myers house, I'm going, wow, what's the resale value of this place? This looks really, you did a really nice job with this place.
Yeah, like it's super nice. And even like, I just remember being blown away by that opening 10-15 minutes of like, wow, this is like down to the film grain is so good. And so like, I don't understand how, like, what are the technical ability, like what did you do to replicate everything like that? Because there's no way that you went back and shot it in like on film and in like an older camera, like, you know what I mean? Like, what did you do to replicate that? It's so fascinating to me. Yeah,
I'm hoping
Good,
that's one of the
great
bonus
stuff.
features in Halloween Kills when it
Yeah,
comes on hard copy
absolutely.
is like how they replicated that scene because everything's perfect. Michael has never looked better. Lonnie Elam is wearing the exact same thing as he did when Loomis scared him away from the house. Lonnie, get your ass away from there. Like he's looks exactly the same, which is fantastic. Like I I'm still blown away by how accurate it is to the original movie. If you told me they just filmed at that exact same filming location, I would believe you because it's so
Yeah.
meticulously taken care of. It's so well done. Any other ones before we wrap this thing up, Josh?
Nah, man. I think uh, I still need to. There's a long list of the movies from this year that I need to see, and so I'm sure I'll have some. I'd have some more from that, and definitely from this weekend, whenever I eventually see Spider-Man No Way Home. But yeah, it's been a good comeback for movies, honestly.
Yeah, we've also had a good year this year with stuff. Let me see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from Dune, which is a movie I never thought that we'd get a remake for to while it was a colossal failure, it was cool to see visually what they could do with Mortal Kombat. There's it's just like a lot of really cool stuff came out this year, and honestly, like 2022 is going to be like so much bigger. Like holy crap,
It's
it's going to be huge.
it's what
It's
this
going to
year
be
was hoping
huge.
it would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that about wraps us up for 2021. What were your favorite movies or moments or even worst movies of this year? Let us know. We always like hearing from you guys. And before we wrap things up, we just want to say thanks for listening. We grew a lot this year.
Yeah.
A lot more of you joined us along the way. You helped us cross 500 subscribers. You helped us cross 550 subscribers. So we're going to keep chugging along. We enjoy doing this, but we just want to make sure we say thank you. We hope you have a really great holiday season. We'll join you right back here in 2022 for what hopes to be the best year yet for movies, for Uncharted Media. We're going to keep trying to think of new ways to entertain and engage with you guys. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us. We're unique, but we appreciate that you're always sticking with us. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, YouTube. And if you already subscribed to us on YouTube, help us get to 600, even 700 subscribers. Maybe that should be the goal for the coming year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.